G'day, welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joining, well, coming back. Not just joining, he's back from his vacay. Our old man Algared, how you doing?
I'm doing fairly well, but and here comes YouTube. Bit lagging a little bit, but
All right.
But yeah, good. Couple of weeks of gallivanting around. Well, actually, not too much gallivanting around the tourist sites. Did more shopping than gallivanting, I think. But yeah.
Oh, well, you'll probably be fielding a bunch of questions about that today. We'll see how it goes. Right, we will be doing questions today. I do have a few things to go over though. So I've been digging into a lot of things, trying to find out what's coming for CitizenCon. I think I can safely say 4 of them now, very, very accurately. And then I think there may be a 1 or 2 surprises, but I'm going to talk about those. But I think they are major grain of salt type things. I'd be not expecting them to come and be like this hopeful. And I'll kind of show you what I found. There is evidence that goes both ways, but you got to remember a lot of this stuff is still in construction, so things that are there or not there and things like that, it's kind of hard to detect right now. But yeah. I
know you told me a lot of this last night, but I
yeah, well, you just got back from a school camp too, didn't you? You literally went straight from vacation to a school camp. So we went from camping to camping, essentially. So, yeah. Right, well, I'll show you this. So I'll just, we'll go straight over to the browser while people getting in. And again, make sure you get your questions in, guys, because we're going to have questions for this today. But so what they did was on their X profile or Twitter profile, they posted this very short, I believe this is a sneak preview of the trailer. All right. Bit blurry, I apologize for that. Now, clearly Algared missed it.
I did.
It's very, very brief. And I did not see it myself at the start, but it's actually, someone's posted it down in this post, right? And you can tell, so you can see an anvil engine there, right? But I'm pretty sure that that's the Asgard. You can't see everything, obviously, but you can tell from the profile that it is.
It doesn't look like a ship we've got.
No, it's different. But I'm pretty sure that that's the Asgard, but you can see enough to tell that it's different, but not enough to tell what it is, as in whole thing. So that's one little sneak peek that they've given off recently. So yeah, right. Other than that, go back now and find the images that I sent to people, because I've been talking backwards and forwards and it's been a pain in the backside. So this is one other thing I want to look at. In the hall, you can actually see the places for all the ships and stuff like that. I think I sent some of these to you actually, didn't I, as well?
If you did, I missed them because
here we go. Here's a good one.
I've been busy.
Yep. So,
but I know you did. We were talking about it last night. And the play sets and what ships were showing up or being listed as showing up, but it's all a blur.
Yeah, so this one here is they've kind of put all the new things in the main part of the hall, right? So they're all together. It's kind of, I don't know if this is what they're going to run with. They only have one hall. The halls haven't been changing at the moment, so it's a little bit weird. But essentially, you can see there you'll have the Grey Cat MTC over here. You'll have the Guardian MX over here, and the Starlancer attack at the back. Right, they're all kind of things that we kind of expected. And then the last thing is the Asgard, and I do believe I have a picture of its location, but it's not in the main room. I'm just looking for it now real quick. I've got ones of it from the day before they put the vehicles back in, unfortunately.
So regarding that engine, I've had I can see 2 comments in YouTube. One suggesting it's a Liberator, and another suggesting it's possibly for Legionnaire. So
I got multiple, but it's not the Legionnaire. It's different from that. I've had people go over it and compare it with the engines of existing ships. It doesn't exist, and I literally can word for word. I'll come back and talk about this in a second. I'll read you word for word what Grim said on it. Right. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll go back to the chat. So he said the Valkyrie, no wing-mounted thruster. Paladin, no wing-mounted thruster. Legionnaire does have a wing-mounted thruster at the rear of the ship, but it looks nothing like what is being shown in the teaser. Wing and thruster are completely different from ship shapes and sizes. So yeah, he's already gone over that. So
given that Grim goes through all the ships and builds, reconstructs them for his website, I'd probably go with. His analysis there.
Yeah, I'm sure he opened the models and looked at them and compared them to the ones in the picture. He's pretty thorough. So this is a spot. I don't know if I got a photo of the actual front area. I'll have a quick look and see if I do. But the front area of, here is called the ground vehicle combat. Like, so on the other side of that, see where it says United in Purpose. On the other side of that, as you walk in, it's got a ground. I know I took a photo of it somewhere. I've just got to find it. Going back through the chats here is rather annoying. Maybe I sent it to you. Hang on. Because I've been going back and forwards with so many people the last couple of days. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this one here. So if I open this one, this is what it said at the front. Ground Combat Hall. I did find it very interesting that there is this is the picture of the Atlas Geo on the left-hand side. Why do they have Titan suits listed under Ground Combat Hall? I wonder. And so there's this area that it's basically Valkyrie sized, and there's 2 tanks parked off that are not around the lights. I think
why would that be the case?
Yeah, so I think this is where the Asgard is going, and I think very evidently we can now pretty much confirm that this is designed to carry at least one large vehicle, which is what I'd expect. We don't have that. A lot of people saying it should carry 2, but as soon as it carries 2, it treads too heavily on the Hercules. I think that's, man, he needs everything he can get at this point. It's getting trodden left, right, and center. I think having a smaller vehicle that can just carry 1 is extremely beneficial. I think having 2 is just, it's almost like a clone at that point, and it's not worth it to me personally. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Would you rather a 1 or a 2?
6 of one, half a dozen of another, really.
It is, but like, think of the advantages of a 1. You can make the ship heaps smaller. You know, you can have.
If you're looking at giving that variation and giving that versatility of gameplay, the different roles and different places, definitely having 1 makes sense, because we don't have a single ship that can take only 1 large vehicle. It's that type of problem. If it can take 2, then, as you said, it does start to impinge on the Hercules, but then we also know CIG do want to have multiple ships that do multiple roles to give that variation of choice. So for me, it's I can see either. If I was going on just what I see here with the 2 tanks, now they could just be going for symmetry, which I know CIG seem to like, or they could be indicating that whatever ship is there can take 2 tanks. So
now,
again,
this, I don't want to get off topic too much, but I'm going to show this briefly because I've got it in front of me. There are multiple what appears to be AI blade displays in multiple places around the halls. That they usually come in some configuration of 4 like this, and there are different ones as well. So this is like a white gold one. I've seen other little colored ones and stuff like that, but I just wanted to point those out, that they are predominantly featured in the hall. And I think that we're going to see they're coming in this patch. You want to talk about it in regards to that? Because I know you've talked about it before. So
Imperator Addison is finally coming good on the promise of more AI. Yeah, only took 5 years or so, but yeah. Nothing more on those. It's an advancement. It's an improvement. If they are IO blades, fantastic.
Yeah. So the only thing left in this hall that I can talk about is so. If you remember the first image that we looked at, I'm going to just open that real quickly so you can... So this one here, I'm talking about, you can see up here, I'm talking about this space up here. So over this wall, over here, or you can see, so that's the wall that I was pointing out, and that's where the tack would go on the left-hand side here. And I'm talking about this space over here. It's kind of a weird space tucked off to one side. To be honest, on the other side is a Mark II Super Hornet. Right, so it's like a regular ship. So this could be an absolute nothing burger, but the reason I bring it up is there is nothing there, right? As in, it's all removed. So all the new stuff is removed. right? And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I think it is something else that I don't know what it is, a new component. It could be anything at this point. But I just want to bring it up to you because it's another unknown. And this is what is there at the moment. And due to its size, you can kind of getting a shimmer. I'm going to go. You can see the screen's turned off. Now that's not very big. And I got another picture of it as well that kind of more closely shows the area, which is this one here. Right now, I took all these in game just before the power went out. By the way, I had a blackout here last night. So you can see there, not a very big space, incredibly narrow, right? And you could almost assume that it's meant to go inside this black line here, whatever is being displayed, incredibly narrow. Are you telling me the only thing I can think of is a Titan suit, or like 3 Titan suits in a row?
That could be that.
Or it's a torpedo or something like that. Like that they're the only things I've been able to think of.
If it is fitting into that narrow space in the black line, yes, I could see Titan suits. I could see torpedoes. A torpedo,
yeah,
the length would work. And we did see in the code
new torpedoes.
Those new torpedo sizes, so that could be there.
But it's
my thought.
Very strange to be predominantly in the main hall, is it not?
Yep.
And the fact that it's invisible.
Given that the main hall is also usually where the ships go, small pad I could see being a heavy fighter, and we know they were working on a heavy fighter.
It's not a small pad. It is so tiny. It's not funny.
So you're saying it's a really tiny pad?
Like it's like Pulse Dragonfly sized at absolute best, and I think it's even smaller than that. Again, you got to realize I'm standing right there in a first-person camera. It is tiny.
Okay, yeah, that is tiny.
It's really, really tiny. And if I can find, I don't know if I took this last screen. Yeah, here we go. Look, I'll show you this one as well. This is how small it is in the entire area, right? So that entire area fits a Super Hornet. It's just that little bit over to the one side.
Yeah, that's definitely not a ship.
It's really weird. So it's, to me, it's like the biggest mystery left. I'm pretty sure it's probably just a component or something. I don't think it's gonna be anything, you know,
component or I think component or missile or torpedo.
Yeah, something like that.
Given that we got the other thing, be interesting to see if they have anything that fills in the rest of his space. But yeah.
Okay. Someone sent me a link. I'm going to open it, but we're going to have a look at this in a minute because I want to finish our discussion. He sent me something on AI Blades. I'll have a look at it for him. The last thing I kind of want to go over real quickly is the schedule. And in the schedule, essentially on this first day, I'm assuming that we're going to get a Grey Cat MTC on the first day, and then nothing this. And then on the next here, I believe we'll be getting the TAC and the Mirror Guardian. Nothing for Crusader, Anvil or the Asgard. Drake we'll talk about in a second, and then the finale. The fact that Drake is only 1 day makes me think nothing is coming. There are some weird things happening in the Drake Hall. There is a separate hall for Drake, but you'll also notice that they've taken the red. It's not Drake Defense Con. It's all been stripped off.
And that was the thing I was going to mention. This is the first time we've seen Drake actually in the Invictus showroom. So that could also, to the reverse, it could be indication that we do have something from Drake coming that's been actually accepted by the UEE as being legit, getting that stamp of approval, and they're finally in the event rather than being attacked.
Or it could just be they didn't put the colours on it.
Yep,
could be that simple too.
Not to do with colours, and we'll store DefenseCon coming.
But again, the hangar is an extra large hangar for Drake. It's in the files. It is there. But it could be like there are things that have moved around and changed, and stuff like that. But again, that's the biggest mystery left for me is Drake. I think that we've got 2 weeks before this all kicks off, so I think we'll find out as we go along. I am hopeful of the Ironclad, but I would say at the moment it's a massive massive grain of salt. I for the longest time, if you look at the Perseus and you look at the Ironclad and knowing they're coming this year, more than likely they'll be ready according to the time frame. You would assume one comes at each sale, so they don't tread on each other. But what I've probably realized is you could essentially get one at CitizenCon and one at IAE. There is a precedent for this. There was the year that we got the Pioneer and the Hammerhead. That's how they came out. Only a month apart, but it was enough. So that might be the way that we're getting them. I would have assumed if it was ready to go, it would be coming at Invictus because they'd want to spread it out. But it's looking more and more likely that it may not be the case, which is quite disappointing. But I wouldn't. That's not 100%. I think that's the last, like, fingers crossed type of thing. But don't take it as a guarantee until we see more.
But then going on the idea that, when John was asked about a Drake Corvette, and he gave it a smile, which was for the Ironclad. The fact that it's been in production for at least 18 months, it does say that it's due to come out. So there's lots of little things, enough rope there for us to hang ourselves, but not enough to be 100% certain.
Yeah,
so
there's some
fingers
weird,
crossed again.
There's some weird things going on in the Drake Hall that don't add up, but like sometimes you just can't add, it's not like, it's not always 2 + 2 = 47.
Yeah.
You've got to actually kind of let things play out a little bit of time.
Yep. Now, Pissball Pete's saying,
I'll let you read that one.
In
Twitch.
Thank you. Drake is in Invictus, not DefenseCon. Why wouldn't Drake be in DefenseCon? Potential reason, I reckon they didn't want to F around with the hangar and used and add extra dev time to adjusting it. Why would they need to do that for, and adjust it just because they couldn't fit in an Ironclad? Look, I think part of it is, if you're looking for a law reason, I'd say if they've got an Ironclad, the Ironclad is one of those ships that's finally said yes. You've come into the league, you've proven yourself. You now make it into Invictus. DefenseCon was Drake's add-on because they were never invited, they were never allowed in, and so they actually did their own convention. If they're now allowed in a convention, they don't need to have DefenseCon. Because they couldn't be bothered to muck around with the halls. And they already had the halls in files from last time, so
it would actually create more work, not less.
Yeah.
And as I said, like the halls have got things in them, and they appear to have changed. So there is a new Drake hall. I don't know, but the thing is, by the same token, in game right now there are no. You know how they used to be off to the side, down near the hangars and stuff, and there's nothing that's popped up. I think we're going to find some more. Like again, the halls don't seem to be cycling like they used to. They seem to be just like a static hall. So if they don't start cycling, I don't think you'll ever see the Drake stuff. But again, that's more evidence towards it. And I see like if they're trying to hide the Drake hall, because it's really obvious. If the Drake halls have changed and they're all of a sudden bigger for no reason, we know it's coming, right? So they may have just turned off the rotation of the halls. The other thing that I'll point out in the files that points towards the Ironclad is, to give an example, there are hologram viewers for ships that aren't coming, like the Kraken, for example. There is no holograms for the Ironclad.
For the Ironclad, yeah.
Which is really strange. So it could just be an oversight. It could be that they need to update them. Again, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Hang on to your butts and cross your fingers, but don't count your chickens until we know more.
As we say, they're giving us enough rope
to hang ourselves with.
To hang ourselves. So we could go way out on the limb and say, yes, it's coming. We could go.
We are. The other way. 90 says in YouTube chat, we are kind of hopeful of that. That is something Grim, Trispone. So Grim, Trispone, and I got together to do the stream that you were not here last week for, and we've just continued to talk and talk. So I think it'll be a thing that just happens between the three of us. We'll keep talking. But yeah, long story short, that's one of the things that we brought up is maybe the Ironclad is not quite ready, but there's no reason they couldn't do an exterior. And we have a precedent for that in so many ships now. Redeemer. Polaris, it goes on and on and on and on. So I would be hopeful that we at least get to see the exterior, because that should be well and truly done by now.
It was Invictus at Crusader. No, not Crusader, at Hurston. Didn't we see the outside of Idris? Was that right?
Well, there's
a different ship.
There's an Idris in the game right now. You can actually go do the tour and all that as well. So yeah. But yeah, the Idris has been in the game for over 10 years, on and off, and different forms.
Back when, if my memory serves me right, when they had Invictus in Hurston, they had this massive hall, and there was an Idris that you could just look at. You just walked out. That was
yes. That was the first. That was the first time. As I said, about 10 years ago. It's been a long time. There is a new Idris in game. I'm not going to go over it at length. I did go over. Well, Grim went over it at length on his stream yesterday. That I was on with him and Ender. Long story short, the texture work is not very good. There are a lot of mistakes in it. There is a severe lack of detail. And there's even little weird. Actually, I'll show you the one highlight for me that I did send to Grim. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Bear with me. Sorry, I have to go back. It takes me a minute to do so. It's not that one.
You may want to turn the bot on. I don't think it's on.
No, I haven't turned the bot on yet. Sorry. Apologies. God damn it. I am looking for a singular photo. It's going to take me a hot minute to find. But basically, long story short, I sent it to Grim, and what it is they've literally it's one of the turrets essentially, and they have essentially it's all flipped. So even the text was flipped in the turret. So you'd get in, and where it said exit would be mirrored. So that shows me how, like, they haven't gone through and unmirrored everything. They've just super lazily duplicated everything over, which tells me it's a real quick and here we go. I think I found it. Yes, this is it here. A hot minute to find. I'll go back. Hang on. Is this one? So you can see there, I've just got my mouse over the power off button, and it's mirrored and backwards. And I'm in the bottom turret of the Idris because it was very hard to get into a lot of turrets, but it actually bared a bit of fruit. As I said, it shows me that, again, another bit of evidence that the ship is not ready to go. So I think it is truly just an exterior display. It is not ready to go. They're just showing it.
They've generally got the ship working, but they haven't gone through and fine-tuned all the assets and got them looking right. And that's acceptable. I can cope with that.
Yeah.
Considering we've always been told we wouldn't get that, for years we've been told we wouldn't get the Idris until in game, the ones we own until after Squadron 42. So anything we get before then is, in my opinion, is always a bonus. So yeah. All right, so if you've got a question, please put it in. The bot is live, and if we don't get questions, well, you know what happens.
My apologies for not putting the bot on. Yeah, they take a minute to come through from YouTube.
Here they come. All 5 of them. No, all 4 of them. And if you have a question that you haven't put question in as part of the question, the bot will not pick it up. So Shimpasta, your question would need to have the word question in it.
Yep.
Otherwise, I will ignore it totally.
Just doing some mod work in the background for a second, Algared. Just give me a minute. Real quickly. I've got to remember where the hell to go now. Work.
Thank you, Shimpasta.
It did work. Okay, that is fixed. I've done what you wanted, Ashra. It is fixed. So that is done. Right. Close that because that's private and personal. Checking messages
now,
here.
I will say that yours and Paul's discussion on doing Old Man Hurston. Paul would be the easiest one to hopefully do Old Man Hurston because Old Man Hurston is modelled on. I always forget his name. Did Mr. Someone say goes to Washington and did Westerns? James. But I've forgotten his last name. But yeah, one of my favorite actors, older American actors, and I always forget his last name, which is really annoying.
I don't know. I wasn't born in 1929. I got no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's before my age time as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's before color even. They were black and white back then.
They were black and white, and I've seen
Charlie
lots
Chaplin.
Of
Is that one of them? That's one of them. No.
James Stewart. That's who it is.
Oh, James Stewart. Right. Okay. Cool.
James Stewart is the muse for Old Man Hurston.
Right.
No. And Paul, being an American, should be able to pull off an American accent much better than I can.
Okay.
So yes. So that discussion you and Paul had about not being able to do Old Man Hurston, Paul should definitely be able to pull that off. So yeah.
Right. Actually, we could probably have a look at that real quick. Someone's got a
James Stewart.
No. Hell to no. Where was it?
Yeah, keep going.
I'm trying to find it. Hang on. Where is it? They removed it off the thing. Shows. There we go. Let's bring this up. So, probably not going to play the whole thing verbatim. I'm going to even mute it, and I'm going to kind of partially full screen it. So yeah, the attack is coming, Algared.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the ships we expected as well.
Yeah, we've expected this since CitizenCon, so it's not a surprise for me and you. I don't think it was a surprise for really anyone. Let's be honest.
People.
So there is a question we have there, Algared. So I'll let you read that question. It's the first question there. That's why I brought this all up. So yeah.
So, what do you think the tax price increase will be? And that's from Demonic or Demonic.
Oh, thank you, Grim. I'll have a look at it in a sec. Yeah, in regards to the Starlancer attack, usually price increases, Algared, as you would know, are generally somewhere between 10 to 20%. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't actually know the price of the attack.
I would be honest, if I said I knew, I'd be a liar.
Let's have a quick look. Because again, I've really checked out on the whole Starlancer thing. What is our price there? There is no price. Apparently it's free. You get it for free. Someone want to tell me in chat, is it $330? Really? Wow. Okay, so it's actually quite a bit more expensive. So that's what, $80 more. Yeah, so if it's currently $330, I'd be expecting that to jump by $30 to $60. So you're looking in the neighborhood of $375 to $400 max type of thing.
I could see, just for being a round figure, I could see them going $350.
Yeah, I could also see
that's just pulling a number out of my butt.
Well, the other thing that would be good is if we had a ship that was around $390, because we don't have a ship that's $390. So it would be kind of cool to see that one as well. We don't know the price of the build Shempasta because they never released it. But I think you would probably agree, knowing the Starlancer is $250 and the build is $330, and they're actually priced this higher than they've priced the Redeemer and the Paladin. Find that really interesting, actually. Yep. Yeah, getting back to the build is, I'd assume the build's somewhere between the two, just based on that really big gap. You know, that's an $80 price increase. Like if you cut that and make it $40, again around $290 for the build is, I think that's pretty reasonable. And you've also got to remember the the Starlancer is out. The build and that are not out. So that's such a large gap. That's crazy to me. Yeah. That's really weird, but I don't know. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a much better ship than the Starlancer. And no, I'm not calling it the Max. I will refuse, because it is not. It is a Starlancer.
Yeah. It is just, just a standard Starlancer.
Yeah.
I don't get why they called it a Max, apart from a sales gimmick to try and make people think it was bigger and better.
I'll call it the Min. It's not a Max.
The minimum. Yeah. No.
Minimum. You know. But yeah, but look, like I can see from a gun perspective and the group play and all that type of thing, it's got Redeemer elements in it with the big turrets and that on it, but it has weaknesses too, right? It's really, really large, right? You're talking like we've brought this up on stream before. It's a very large ship for its size, so it's a very easy to shoot target as well. Yes, you can get a lot of people on it. It's got remote turrets. I'm going to be honest, the hangar I could have or discourage the turret. Like I just like let me put it this way, Algared. Would you rather the smaller ship profile and the attached Merlin, or the much bigger ship for the ability to repair a single and carry a single Fury? And I know you can squeeze 2 in there.
Yeah.
But if you could rotate, like if you had ways to attach much more to the exterior, that would have totally changed this ship for me.
Yep. And we know from this that, like we've talked about, the Fury being turret attachments, and CIGs said they tried. They did look at that. They really did like the idea of doing that, but they couldn't do it. I'm not sure. I can't remember what the reason Ben and John gave for that.
They were essentially the ship had to be much bigger to accommodate them.
It just didn't really work when they tried it, but they did really like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So what Algared's talking about is back when the Fury first came out, how we talked about that. Wouldn't it be cool if they were like a detachable turret? They really liked that idea.
They really liked that idea, and they actually, if I recall correctly, they said they actually tried it with the Starlancer, and it just didn't work. So, would I like one that's got the Fury in it? I like the Quanny because it's got the Archimedes or the Merlin. So I'd have to say I like that, and mainly because it gives you another role for a crew member. A crew member could get in and fly around and then come back.
Again, being such a small ship, I would have liked to have more of them. I guess you could technically put them in the hangar, in the cargo bay as well. I never really thought of that until just now. But again, it's just another inconvenience to deploy them and all that type of shit. But
I suppose if you've got them in the hangar and you can launch them from a hangar, fine. But if you can put them in your cargo bay and launch them from a cargo bay, great. But the hangar's the only place you could repair them. Or rearm them and refuel them. I could see that being a way of cycling them.
Again, it's just another missed opportunity. They could have done something drastically different, and they just did more of the same. I would have liked to have seen, maybe the whole cargo on this thing is like a cargo plate that's on the bottom, almost like a raft, but underneath where the cargo goes. But you could just quickly attach, instead of putting cargo there, you could have put some ones of these. So just something different, but it's so similar. What I am happy about is the needless space that is clearly evident in the Starlancer has been kind of removed, and they've got a hangar. And funnily enough, there's still room for 4 bunk beds. You see what I mean? Like it's just it's just crazy. No one as soon as I saw the double beds, I went, that is needless fluff, right? Because no other ship has double beds, and everyone had their own room on top of it.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just didn't seem to fit right.
If it had more cargo, like if the upstairs had like that whole area had been for cargo, then I would have called it the Max, because it's got way more cargo than the others. That's why it's the Max. The Max moniker then fits. But they didn't have that. They just had living quarters that were needlessly extravagant.
And we've gone over that with, ourselves when we did the review of the Starlancer Max. And it does feel there's lots of empty space. But we also know that the Max, the Starlancer was really built for the build. Yeah. Look. And the other variations come out of that. So
So Robert SJ is saying the Starlancer is still one of the best cargo ships. If you love it, that's awesome. I hate it. I think there are much better options out there, and a really obvious one is the Raelian. Like I'll pull it up. Again, we've only got on paper to look at. But if I go back to, so there's the Starlancer wiki for the TAC. If I open the wiki and type in, wait, I don't need the TAC, I need the Max, and I need to type in Raelian. And there are other ships as well, like the Taurus, and there's a few others, but I'm picking the Raelian specifically because it's very close to it in price. And by the time it comes out and the price increase, they'll basically be the same price. So 320 cargo versus 224. Right? And that's all I need to say. I don't need to say anything else. They both carry 4 people. They've both got guns. They've got all that type of things. All right, go ahead, Lemmy. Obviously, want to chip in here.
I actually think the Raft is better than the Starlancer Max now.
And then if you want to go into that argument, then it becomes the whole B, because I think the whole B is even better than that again.
Yeah. Look, and going back to what I was saying, that I like the idea of the small ship, and it picks up what you were saying as well. The the Starlance attack only has one Fury.
Mm-hmm.
The Connie has the Merlin or the P50 or the Archimedes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, admittedly, the Connie's is underslung, whereas this is in a purpose-built hangar. But when you look at the size, the Connie is 22 meters shorter. It's let's have a look. It's about
that's what I mean.
Half the width and
or a ship so big, it should have the biggest amount of cargo.
That's right. And so I would have hoped that given the Connie's got one snub, the Vis could take two because it's such a bigger ship.
I see what you mean, by the way. I've just pulled up the Raft because so the Starlance attack. I think I closed the TAC one. What did I do with the TAC? I closed the TAC one, but the TAC one had 96 cargo, and the Raft has 96 cargo. That's insane. That's a ship that's
well, the Raft's been doubled.
Half the price. But the ship is half the price.
Doubled, apparently.
Yes, it's been doubled, but the price is half.
Yeah.
It's $125. So you can get. It just shows you how much extra fluff is on that.
Yep.
And you're going from a medium ship, at least. I think it's even smaller. I think it's a small ship. I'd have to double check. You're going from a small or medium to a large. That is insane. It just shows you how much fluff is on that ship. That's crazy to me. And when you go to the whole B, it gets even worse. 384. Now, minus 10, so 90, essentially almost 300. So what's that? 290 more cargo. Almost. Well, that's crazy.
The Starlancer Max, according to the Matrix of Lies, has 224 units of cargo versus the TAC's 96. But still, that price difference.
Have I got the wrong one up, do I? Oh, no, you're right. 224.
But still,
okay,
at half the price.
Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, thank God for that. Yep. I'm remembering the one off the TAC. So yeah, okay. I mixed up my stats. That's good. Okay, good. That makes a lot more sense now. But again, it's the footprint and the cost and the size of the wormholes you can go through. All of this builds up. And again, I still can't not look at the whole B. It's another MISC ship. It's their own competition.
Yeah.
The big thing that the Raft has going for it is that it can take the 32 SCU boxes. I don't think the whole B is going to be able to do that. I know that the Max can't.
Well, we're not sure on that because obviously it's getting a rework. Funnily enough that you bring that up, I had a picture I sent here to Algared because I was on a stream with Grim and we went through stuff. I'm going to have to go back and find it. This is going to take a while. Hang on. Here it is.
I'm sure somebody in chat knows this, but
I've got it. Just give me a second. I'm opening it now. Opening browser. So this is I modified someone else's image essentially because I didn't like the way they had it laid out. But if you had this configuration, so these are 32 SCU cargo containers. Ignore the stats down the bottom because I modified someone else's, and you put it in this configuration, that ship would work. Now you could do exactly, and that's 512 cargo. And you could do exactly the same thing if they wanted to and just have 24 or 16 SCU cargo containers if they didn't want it to have the ability to carry 32 cargo containers.
I suppose the biggest difference between the Starlancer Max and the Hull B, even though they're the same manufacturer competing, is that the Starlancer Max is internally stored cargo as opposed to externally stored cargo. And that's where you've got you've got to make your choices. Do I take the smaller ship with external cargo, or do I take the bigger ship with the internal cargo?
The other advantage though, back in the day that was real obvious was they were going to have different wormhole sizes, right? And this would technically, when it is going back, as in not taking any cargo, it can go back, you know, so it,
smaller
long way around, short way back, or vice versa.
Yep.
So that's another huge boon as well. Obviously this makes it a fairly wide ship, but it's no wider than the whole sea or anything like that. I have looked at other configurations and how this could lay out, but it just makes the ship way too long. Because so in the example of the person that made this, he actually had, so I've got them sideways here. He had them sideways on that. So it made it really long, and I don't think they'll do that. I just don't.
No. I think they'll stick with two arms and
yeah. Again,
much like you've got there, and do it that way.
Again, when you look at the whole sea, like if you put the whole sea next to this, the whole sea is a lot wider. But this is the best way I can see them doing it. The only other way that I can see them doing it with, like if they don't like it as wide, is that they also put in a top strut, so they only have 3. And that's all possible. I just think that it's a little bit weird and ugly. And you also do have problems from flight, because you know as well as I do, it is then technically asymmetry. So it will actually cause problems. This doesn't cause problems.
No.
So that is the other factor you've got to take into, is how it actually flies.
And
so.
the wide width of it only applies when you're landing.
Yep.
You know, if you're just going to a space station offloading, it doesn't really impact. And once you've offloaded, you can close up the ship, and then again, it doesn't impact lots of things. I can see the value. I can see the real value of the Hull B is, as you said, yes, it's now a large ship when it's expanded and got its cargo on, or a larger ship, so it has to go through the bigger wormholes. But once it's condensed, it comes back for a smaller wormhole, so that the round trip is shorter than, say, the Max. But the upside for the Max is internal storage of cargo.
Yeah, so right now I've got this configured, right, that kind of shows you with the 32 SU cargo containers. As soon as you drop it to, are they 28 or 24 SU cargo containers? I think it's 24 off the top of my head. But if you do the 24 SU cargo containers, it's exactly 384, which is what this is in the, if you go look in the
files,
384, right? Yeah. So again, if you just don't allow it to take 32 SU cargo containers, but it can take 24, and there are other ships that do that as well, like the Caterpillar, for example. It's all designed around the 24 SU cargo containers.
Yeah,
same thing. So that's its one restriction, is it just can't take 32 SU cargo containers, which is no, like every ship's got. Well, look at the Hull A as an example.
Yeah,
that can only, whatever. But yeah.
But if you do that, then the Max that can take 32 SU containers, again, has a purpose. It's internal storage. It can contain bigger containers.
Yep.
This is external storage, but it takes smaller containers. So
it's the same thing here when we come back to the Raelian, because the Raelian, we don't know how their cargo system works. They've got those massive big triangle boxes on the back. You're gonna have to probably use special cargo containers just made for the Raelian, and that's going to come with other problems. So that's other things we're going to look at as well.
And like, just trying to think of restrictions that this would have. If you've got your cargo case, your cargo boxes in these triangles, and the UEE norm is the square box, that's going to increase your loading time, because you've got to repack everything and restore everything into that storage system.
Yeah.
But that's just my speculation of just how you would balance.
Just as a side note to kind of show how much money factors into these sales, we've never, as far as I'm aware, I got correct if I'm wrong, and I heard Paul talking about this, and I agree with him, we've never had a new ship debut at Alien Week. They've always come at a time where they can maximize the profit. So yeah, that just shows you it's not what it's into the lore, or it's a military ship, so it'd be good for Invictus. It's got nothing to do with that. It's where they can make the most money. It dictates everything when it comes to the sale and the time that they release. So right, that was the first question.
Yeah, that first question. Now let me go back.
Only took like 45 minutes. Oh, that was terrible. No, that's fine. Right.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
We always complain that some of our questions are too quick. Okay.
Yeah. So Grim, I've talked about that before in regards to the Alien, the Raelian. Just realised.
Yep.
Raelian is alien without the R. Wow. Wow, what a trip that was for a second. Anyway,
that was like a Trump moment.
Yeah.
I noticed that us is US.
Yeah. You've got the triangle boxes. If you actually think about their orientation points and how they connect to each other, it is literally just rotating them on an angle so they can connect on a diagonal. Just not a lot of work. Like, it's the same code and everything. It's just moving their orientation points. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you go into the 3D
because we talked about it numerous times.
No, I'm doing a Grim.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Yep.
I know you know. But it is a very easy thing for them to do, and it would just work with the code that they already have. It's just changing their orientation point, and and so instead of the boxes snapping on top of each other, they're just attaching to the sides and stuff like that. And so you can essentially stack them. As long as you've got 2 rows, they essentially become square. So yeah, it'd be pretty easy to do. Yep.
So Socially Confused has a question.
Yep.
Linking to this week's sneak peek, which probably wasn't out when we did that, but his question was for sneak peek. Is in the he wants to know. He's just talking about the sneak peek being in the Discord league. So no, that's not a question. It's just a statement.
This is it here. I think Grim sent it in our group chat. I'm just opening it now. So this is it here. Missiles.
That's all pod.
What was this?
My guess.
What was the caption? If someone's got the caption, can you drop us the caption, please? I probably haven't got the email yet. For some reason it takes them like 3 hours to get to me. I think it's because I'm on the other side of the planet. It's got to perpetuate or something, and it just takes a really long time.
Yeah, we do always get the those updates late, don't we?
Yeah, well, you know, those guys get them straight away. And again, as I said, that's me, not you, by the way. No. Oh, weekly update. Here we go. Found it. I do have it. Rolling to the bottom. Missiles ready. That's all it says. Yeah.
How many missile racks did the attack have?
I don't know. Have a look. Getting more emails. Better close that. Starlancer. That's the max. Open the other variant. Attack. What do we want? We want weaponry. Remote turrets. Bespoke quad launcher. Could that be a bespoke quad launcher? Let's have a look.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's yeah. There's a few more though.
Oh, that looks like 8.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I think the quad launcher is on the back because they talked about that in that video.
They do. Yeah, you're right. I do remember it from the video. Now you mentioned it, Lemming. Yes, he's right. He is right. They do have that. So this is not that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any?
I mean, there's a leaked missile boat coming at Invictus.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the leak? Is there something that came out while we were sleeping? Is that what's happened? No. Are you talking about
no,
the
it's the Guardian MX.
Oh, the Guardian MX. Yeah. That's not Mirai. And the Guardian MX from everything I've seen fires size 10 torpedoes. But yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe this is it. I don't know.
Maybe the Guardian MX had a size 10 mount, and this is a size 10 mount.
I don't see Mirai in that. Like the shape of that headlight is all wrong. I assume that's a headlight of some description or a remote camera
or a sensor.
Yeah, or a remote turret. You know, so it's like you can see the missiles coming out as you fire them or something like that. Out of the ship that's there, unless it's completely upside down. Let me have. It could be upside down, actually.
I don't think it's upside down. That looks like the ground down there. That looks like the bottom of a hangar.
I don't know. I've seen them do stuff upside down before. They have done that. So, well, the reason I bring it up, right, and I'll bring it up. This is why I think it's upside down. I'll make it really obvious, right? And you tell me that you can't see it or unsee it once I show you, because it's really, really obvious once you see it. This one here. Give me 2 seconds to open it. Open with, we want to put it in that just once. All right. See this bar here?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now I go back to it. There's a bar. That's what I saw.
Yep.
But yes, it's not on an angle. I get all that. But again, if it's somehow,
well, that's it closed.
Yeah. Well, again, it could be closed. This could open. It could be another bar on it somewhere else. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I look at that and I do not see Misk. I do not see Mirai. It is a different style. They don't have that. Like, yes, there's some curvy stuff, but they don't have these. There's no more curvature here. It's all flat. See. And again, as you said, the only thing we know of that's a missile that's coming is well, you said the Mirai Guardian, but for the size that Mirai Guardian is firing torpedoes. It's not firing. And I've had all the military boys I've talked to said it would be an uptake in mass. And again, if you look at the picture that I
and from memory, the description of a Guardian miss was it fired large ordnance rather than missiles. So
yeah, something
large ordnance to me was torpedoes, not small missiles. But I could be wrong.
Who did I send that to? I think it was. I sent so many photos to people. Might have been General Desperado. Nope, wasn't him. Some streamer I was talking to, and I sent a photo to. What I'm trying to find is a photo of and I have to go back through all the discussions.
But it was a photo of.
It's when you and I are on stream with Grim, and we got him to bring up the S-size 10 torpedo and put it next to the Guardian, because everyone just assumed that it was way too big, and it was almost like perfect in length.
Yeah,
like it fit on the wings and all that type of thing. And I just can't remember who that I sent it to. Actually, I think I saved it because I got sick of finding it. Give me a second. It would be, oh, there it is. I found it. Open with, there we go. This was what I was trying to find. So there's it next to a size like a regular Guardian. And if you look at the other photo, which is this one, and then it would be this one.
And that black silhouette was a size 10, wasn't it?
Yes. So yeah, you can kind of see the little pips here on the wing, which is what we're kind of assuming where it goes. And so if you kind of sit them, you know, like one here and one here, and then when you realize all four nacelles are mirrored of each other, it just works.
You could have 4 size 10.
Yeah.
So
you could just have.
I don't think any ship has external mounted torpedoes.
Maybe not torpedoes, but we don't really have many that are like that anyway, if you think about it. The only ones that we know of are the Gladiator and the Harbinger that fire size 5s. But yeah, you're completely right. It could be completely something else. It could be what you're suggesting. So let's look into that. Let's play with that theory. Why not? So you'd assume that it's something like this, but they kind of like come out of the, like, pop up out of the wing. Is that what you're kind of surmising? I'm just trying to ask, like, follow your lead.
No, I think that missile mount is on the bottom of the body of the Guardian. Like
under here, or under the wing, or where? Where?
I think it's on the body.
Like, oh, so like under the chin type of thing, or on the roof.
Maybe.
Let me have a look at that. Well, the Guardian is really close to the ground, and it's so close to the ground that you wouldn't have this lighting. I swear this is upside down, because it's so it's. This is why I think it's upside down, right? Right? See how it's lit here, but it's dark on the top. Right? That tells me it's upside down. Because if this is in a hangar, the light source is coming from here. Do the math. Look at all the lights. They're all on the bottom part of it. This is upside down. Look, I'm gonna like, I don't normally do this
if
live on stream, but I'm gonna rotate this image because as soon as I rotate it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can see the lights there. They don't look like they're on the ground. They look like they're the ones that are usually above. So I get where you're coming from, but for the benefit of others, please do so.
Yeah, I think you need to see it flipped, because once I flip it, it's gonna change the way you look at it. Paste, edit. Sorry, I am doing this live, guys. I do apologize because I know it's boring because you can't see anything, but how it's gonna be. Oh wow. Okay, now tell me you can't see that, Lemming. Hang on, I'm just saving it back out for the. Yeah, this is 100%.
Yeah,
the Grey Cat cav. The Grey Cat. Well, what was the cav? What is it now? The MTC. Oh, Algared, do you want to tell them what I told you at the supermarket yesterday about the naming convention of the Grey Cat vehicles and how they dropped the ball again?
I mean, the way they always used to have the V at the end, or this one.
PTV, STV, you know, and then this is the MTC. Why wasn't it the MTV? MTC, I'll just call that. All right, closing that down. And now reopening the image I just saved. So open with, bang. No funny lighting. Got the roll bar on it. Yeah, that is 100% the Grey Cat MTC. Yeah. Interesting.
The more I look at it, the more I don't think that it makes as much sense for the way that you have it flipped, because the spacing above those missiles just doesn't look right.
I think the lights though say everything, because again, if they've just smashed it in a hangar like they've done with most of these and rendered it out, all the lights are above. And they'd be doing this quickly. They wouldn't be setting up lights every single time. They'd be spawning a vehicle into a hangar and taking the screenshots as quick as they could. They don't have the time to waste on that stuff.
If it is the cav, I could see that the cav missile rack in a deployed position rather than being.
Let's just ask chat, huh? Let's do a poll and So do we make it is it a Grey Cat MTC, yes or no, or do you want it to be, do you think it's the Guardian or the Grey Cat MTC? What would you like the poll to be, Lemming? In your
I think, is it a Guardian, is it the Grey Cat, or is it something else? So give chat a third.
Yep. I'll just say other about that.
Yep.
What ship? I'm just gonna say ship, but I mean ship or vehicle. Ship. Do you think this is? And then we'll go Grey Cat MTC, Guardian MX, or other. Right. Do that. Twitch, you're off and away. Doing it on YouTube now. Shit, gotta do it the other way. I'm an idiot. Start a poll. That and Cat PC,
Guardian MX.
and then add an option, and I'll just call that other. Start poll. There we go. All right. Let's see them weigh in and see what comes out. But I don't know. I don't know. What now? I flipped it. Does that change how you look at it? Does it? Do you still look at it as a ship, or do you look at it? I can't not see a vehicle, to be honest.
When you showed the vehicle, I could see it. I thought the lights, the red lights at the top, indicated it was upside down, but
yeah, because that still actually looks like it's something attached to the vehicle. Over there, like a laser designator or something like that. If it was on the Guardian, though, to give you benefit of the doubt, I could actually see it being like on the top here. But then by the same token, I'd expect to be able to see that wing in that image, and I cannot see any form of wing, even like unless it's this and it's just really low. But you know as well as I do, this middle section is lower than this upper section. So that doesn't make sense based on the angle that we're on. That wing would be up here somewhere, and it's not. So based
if you up the gamma on that, can you see anything pop out in the background?
There's enough that you can see there that there's nothing there, though. You'd have a black shadow of something here. There's a gradient. So this drops off here. So what I'm assuming this is the laser designator for the grey cat, especially with the red lights on it like that, the 2 red lights. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Everything I'm seeing is it's the grey cat MTC. That reckons it's something else. They don't know what it is. They're just like, we don't know.
But I do think it's an upside down picture. Like my thought is upside down picture. The lights seem to say it's upside down. But maybe I'm just seeing the vehicle aspect come through. But we know the cav's supposed to be a missile launcher as well of some form. At least that's what I thought.
Yeah, it is. From what we've seen, that's what it's meant to be. So roughly
that kind of fits as well. So
roughly on the polls on Twitch, they're saying 33%. A grey cat MTC, and then 70% of people say it's something else, or they don't know. I assume that's what they've done when they've said other. And then on YouTube, it's 40% say it's the MTC, 20% say the MTX, and 19%, and 41% say other. So,
yeah, it's one of the like I say all the time. It's CIG giving us enough rope to hang ourselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, so that was the discussion on the on
what that image is, yeah. Oh yeah.
Without really a question. Stimpack has a question.
Yep.
Stimpack Steve or Stimpack STV says, question: do you think the Pioneer will go over 1K when it comes in?
Yeah.
LTI in the future? Yes.
I'm betting on it. I'll go into my hangar and show you exactly what I've done, because I did just that. So,
given it's so close to that amount, yes, I fully expect that once it comes out live, it will go over 1,000. But I think the precedent is the Endeavour of all things, because
Endeavour Master set,
they updated the Master set to make it over 1,000, so it automatically gets LTI, and to do that they added the extra biodome. So.
Got to turn Hangar Explorer back on because it's not doing its thing. Let it do its thing, and then if I type in Pioneer, it was right there for a second. So yeah, here's my Pioneer that I had someone pick up for me. They were very generous and helped me get this. But yeah, basically, as you can see there, for the exchange price, it is a 925. And you can see there, it's only got 120 month insurance, but I'm counting on it going up by at least 10%. At 10%, that's $90, and that $90 then puts it over the $1,000 threshold.
And when they looked at the packs for the Endeavour Max, or Complete Endeavour, or whatever they called it back then, the packs that didn't have, they updated all the packs to have the two biodomes, and all the Endeavour packs with all the components, all of them suddenly went LTI. So. I fully expect them to do that.
I have theorized for a little bit, though, that they could be really evil. You know how they remove the land claim thing from this? Is this goes to $995, and all the other ones, because they have the land claim, they go over $1,000.
Yep. And
I've theorized that just to be a pain in the ass.
I could see that as well.
Yeah, but it would be unprecedented for them to do that. Like, this thing, man, it could not go up that amount. I brought on I'm taking a punt, so to speak.
Yeah. The argument for not doing that would be in line with the view that that they couldn't believe that every person had a Pioneer. Yeah. Because the view was that a Pioneer was
Ben. So Ben was saying he talked to an org, and they were saying everyone in their org had a Pioneer, and he was
like,
because to him an org would have one Pioneer. So again, it just shows Some of the ships haven't been sold correctly. Yeah.
So based on that, I could see them not giving it that boost to LTI, so to make it less attractive to people. Unless you really wanted it, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah. Real quick, someone in chat is talking about the thruster in the video. I assume he's talking about this X video real quick. Actually, Grim did send me an updated one that's in high res. Just give me a second. Here it is. I'll open this real quick. If I can. Is it going to allow me? No. How do I open it? I'm going to have to download it. And then I'm going to have to... How am I going to do this? I don't think there's a way I can do that. No, it's just going to take too long to get it to work. So I'll just use the one that we've got. Sorry. I'm talking to myself. I know, crazy person.
Yep.
So he's talking about this. I assume he's talking about this thruster here. We went through it all over before. There is no ship that is exactly like that. In short, we went through everything. More than likely, this ship is the Asgard. I think that is the short version. I'll give you Nivert, who was asking on Twitch. He was a first-time chatter, so I like to accommodate people in their first-time chatters. So one question, you blew it.
I can see there's discussions in YouTube that are coming about, Defense Con, and Drake. Based on what we can see, it looks like Drake are in Invictus launch week. Yes, we know they've never gone there before, but evidence seems to say
I actually disagree with that statement. I think they are still in their own hall. I just think that I think literally someone
they just haven't updated.
I just think they just got to put colours on this year. They have been, like, everything they've done this year is almost looking like it's been done in a rush. Like the fact that there's just one hall and everything's in it. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they've had less people on this and more people working on the game.
And I think, as you said earlier, if they can condense and move Drake into this, it'd probably be more work than just rehashing one of their previous halls they've used for Drake. So, look, I'm happy. I don't care.
Yeah.
whether Drake's in or Drake's not.
It's more work to put Drake in than not, and if they've deliberately left that off, that shows that they're doing less work. So I just don't think it is. Plus, there's a new Drake hall in the files. So, and when I say hall, I don't mean like in with the other. I mean they've redone their hangar. Yeah, because traditionally they're in a hangar that's at the spaceport. When it comes to Area 18, anyway.
So, again, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But only one day for Drake Day. That's
what makes me think that the Ironclad's not coming, because it's just one day. But then the other thing is, it doesn't hurt for it to be one day, because the very next day is the finale.
Yeah.
So it kind of blends in. Yeah. But I just from the way it is, it makes, like, what does it hurt them to have an extra day? That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you make it only one day?
I didn't see this. Oh, no, wait, never mind. I can't read. Sorry.
Okay.
I thought the finale was starting on the 25th, and I can now see on the screen it says 26th.
Yeah.
And the finale's 2 days, so...
Not 3, actually. Yeah. That's true. I think it used to be 3, not 2.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird that you only get 1 day for Drake, which tells me there's nothing new. So, yeah. Disappointing, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So I think realistically, without taping the copium off and the hopium and all that, I think realistically we're getting a Grey Cat MTC, a Guardian MX, and Starlance Attack, which is essentially an unknown variant and a known variant type of thing. So that kind of balances out to be like a one ship, as in one new thing. And then obviously the Asgard is the highlight of this whole thing. DrakeCon always becomes last. It's just always the way Drake is. So therefore, technically, this is the last day of Invictus, so to speak.
We usually get new things every first day and then every second event. So
it's usually the ends and something in the middle. That's really common. And again, we're obviously the anvil is being right at the end is very telling. There are a few little things in there like we showed off before, but we'll have to wait and see what they are. They're probably absolutely nothing. I was very hopeful of a Titan suit coming with Aegis on the first day. The fact that it's Grey Cat and Aegis is kind of a bit interesting because Aegis is traditionally the biggest manufacturer, as in from a ship sales perspective, and then to put Grey Cat, which obviously tells you Grey Cat is got something coming.
But I think the fact that when you looked at the ground combat wall and it had the picture of a Geo, that was like, what's a Geo mech suit doing on the ground combat?
Well, see, something that would be really easy to do is have an image in the files that's called. I'd love to see the name of that image. Actually, Grim, that's probably something that we should look up. No, Aegis make the Anvil make the ballista, mate. The Aegis don't make that. Grim, if you're hearing me, the name, like if we get the file of that wall poster, what is it actually called? Because they've probably just renamed an image to apply, unless it's all one texture. But again, being all one texture, they could have made 2 variants of it, and then on the day when you walk in there, it's not an Atlas Geo, it's a new Atlas, a new suit. That would also explain the small patch. It would also explain why those 2 are on the first day, because that feels very empty for an opening. But if it was a new vehicle and the first Titan suit, they usually open with one of their biggest things, and it's usually a starter ship or something to that account. Opening with the very first combat Titan suit would be a big opening.
And it would sell like hotcakes.
Yep. And again, again, we have Hermes in the files. Everything kind of lines up to a light combat mech made by Aegis.
And if we have a light combat mech or light combat suit by Aegis or collaboration with Grey Cat, we already have the Aegis Retaliator with its troop pod with a Titan recharge station in it. So we've actually already got a ship that theoretically could or should be able to hold the Titan suit. So in a proper place. So yeah.
Dub Coyote does say something that's kind of interesting. It says, "Where's Kruger?" Technically speaking, the Merlin could be seen as a combat craft, but it's a snub that is reliant on its mothership. So I would say that if you're going to see that, it would probably be on RSI day with the with that.
Yeah, and we don't have Kruger in terms of being. We did know they were building it or coming out with or working on a new Kruger fighter.
Yeah, again, so, if everything what I'm seeing is true, is they don't have as many people working on this year as other years, and it's probably just an oversight. But it more than likely would slip right in there with Origin, RSI, and Argo.
Yep.
And again,
it would slip me. Yeah, and I could see very easily slipping in with RSI, especially if they make that fighter something that they could attach to the constellations using the same connection.
Oh no! If you're talking about the light fighter, that's something that's coming later. That would definitely be something that's sold at a sale. I'm just talking about the Merlin as a single little ship.
Yep.
And where it's an over. Come with? So what I'm saying is, it's just a small oversight that they've left the logo off.
Yep. And it goes with RSI anyway because it's built for them. So yeah. Michael Mansfield has a question.
Yep.
With them adding flight blades, do you think they will add hacking in soon after?
Someone did send me something on that, but I haven't had a chance to read it. Here are some things that have been discussed as being thought of for hardware new blade. All right, let's have a quick look at this. So this is a post someone sent me from T Pappy at CIG. So this is obviously an old post now because he doesn't work there anymore. But long story short, so these are the things they thought about: some missile defense systems for combat, encryption, decryption, data runner, emissions, so lower your signatures, offensive E-war blades, defensive E-war blades, mining blades, salvage blades, criminal blades, hit list, enchants, trade databases, shield, stellar, item lock, cargo manifest, interior security, and drone management. That is a lot of different blades.
In other words, blades for every occasion you can think of.
Yeah, so to give an example, I'm just going to read the drone one. It says allows the ship to control oddborn drones. A pirate one, hit list, similar to a criminal database, but is used by criminals. Bad people can view and accept contracts to take care of people. So this is a pretty big system for almost every ship. Salvage database speeds up scanning recs and provides additional information, pinpoint valuable ship items. So essentially, they're computer upgrades, or a mod, essentially. Mining blade speeds up mining scans. The e-warfare ones are things like enhance existing offensive e-war capability, could speed up or strengthen offensive programs, viruses, and the defense one is the opposite, so further protection and reduces potential of offensive programs. Counter encounter e-warfare. Able to keep, so the encryption one is able to keep data encrypted to prevent the theft, and also provides means to attempt to decrypt data. So it just goes on and on. Missile defense system is automatically fires correct countermeasures to avoid being hit by missiles. We do know that the TAC needed this and the Perseus needed them as well. So that's probably why the blades are coming. They're coming with the TAC. And I think the other thing, as I said to you, a lot of ships, you can see the blade area, and then there are other ships that don't have the blade area at all. So if this is coming, I'd assume it's a Mobi glass implementation. So you can probably buy them and physicalize them, but not all ships will have them physicalized.
Some ships you would need to apply them. Yeah. You could apply manually. Other ships you'd apply just via the paper glass, or they just bring them in at different times. So yeah.
Okay, so the people in chat are saying specifically flight blades, and that's the one thing not on this list. Okay, what does a flight blade do? Does it make you fly better, more fuel economy? What does it do? Tell me what you think, please, in chat, because that's the one thing that's not on this list. So flight blades are probably just the default then, whatever that is. Yeah.
Enhances flight. Well, I could see a flight blade enhancing your ability to fly through a jump point. Enhance your ability to fly in.
They changed. So someone just said the Scissor Fuzz saying change the flight characteristics of your ships. Maybe autopilot. Oh yeah, I could give you the autopilot part. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'll be back in a minute.
Yep.
Or two.
Well, it's like I said. Essentially, as they call them, AI blades. They basically, if you think of it from an AI perspective, they already have AI that flies the ships, and they also have AI that control the turret. So I'd expect that the next one we'll see is turret control. That said, though, that is not listed. But then again, this post is from 5 years ago. So it's probably a little bit out of date. Yeah. All right, I'll go to the next question. My Algared'S dealing with something in real life. There's obviously someone there. His attention. Right. Stream questions. Right. Al, where have you been? Chat was worried. All right, I'll skip that one. We'll come back to that when he gets back. Have you got the Starlancer TAC in your collection already? No, I do not. We'd have to ask Algared when he gets back, so they'll leave that one out as well. Next question is from Volta and Sun Gaming, who says CIG is going to refresh the referral system and will delete all points. What do you think about this? Personally, I don't think this is good because all the old backers have already brought all their friends into the game and now don't have much chance of unlocking awards. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. When the referral system came in, that's exactly how me and Algared felt because we'd already tapped all our friends. So we didn't get anything out of the current system either. So welcome to the club. It's basically the entire referral system is a boon to people that are onboarding content creators, right? So you can look at, say, someone, and I'm not trying to pick him or anything like that. I'm just telling you his content is preferred, right? So you look at someone like Morphologist. He's got like 6-7 javelins over of people, right? And he just keeps getting more and more people coming in. He doesn't get anything extra for that, but he got a javelin, right? And again, just to give you an idea, there's my referral code. I've had it on screen for the last couple of years, but I think I'm at 22 people for referrals. You know, so because a lot of the people that make it to us, so to speak, you guys are the more hardcore, the more veterans. You know, you can use your referral code yourself to get you stuff. Why would you give it to little old me? You know, so it's just how it is. It benefits different people for different things, but they value new people a lot at CIG because it's new money. So, you know, and you're going to get more out of a new person than you are out of an old person, so to speak, because an older person is more likely to move stuff around and change what they've already spent, where a new person is going to put in new cash. So it's a boon to them to work with onboarders. So I had to skip a couple of, oh, he's not back. Only content creators and new players will benefit from the new system. Yeah, basically. And it's not all content creators, it's specific content creators. So real quick, Algared, I had to skip a couple of questions because you weren't here. But the one I did end up going with was from Volta and Sun Gaming that says CIG is going to refresh the referral system. What are your thoughts on the referral system? I basically went through the onboarding people and that type of stuff. And you're muted. You are muted, old man. Old man, nobody can hear you. You are talking to yourself.
I muted myself for the benefit of people, but then I forgot to turn it back on.
You need to recenter yourself too. You're off. Look, you're off to one side like this. Yeah, there we go.
I like the idea of redoing the referral system.
Mm-hmm.
I understand there are people who complain, if they're at certain points. One way to alleviate that.
I literally said, it's like for you and me, we were there before the referral system, so we'd already attacked all our friends when it dropped. So we've never really got anything out of it. No,
I've either used myself as a referral or I've got one or two from other people. But so yeah, and all the people who tapped all their friends didn't get a benefit. I know there were people who'd done 20, 30 friends before the new one, the current system had dropped.
Yeah.
And never got anything, never got any rewards for it. So
yeah.
For those who complain that I'm missing out, well, in a sense, it's tough. But another way I could see CIG could possibly alleviate those issues is maybe look at the gap of how many of referrals between the next level and add them to the new system and say, okay, you had this many before you get to a level, they'll transfer across. But that's more paperwork and more fiddling around. But I do like the idea of a new referral system coming. It's something that CIG had been promising for years. And ultimately, it's good news for people to encourage people to bring their friends in. So yeah.
All right, so there's two other questions there before that one. I'll let you ask yourself those.
Inconceivable.
Oh,
I thought you'd have got past Shin Pastor's one.
Oh, where have you been? That was worried.
Yes, and Execute alluded to where I've been in the poster.
His face is
going.
Not
Spaceballs.
His face is going red. Yeah, why is your face going red? Yeah, like really red. Woo! And hot in here, isn't it? Woo!
Yeah, it's hot in here.
Yeah.
Just call me Captain Lone Star. Because that is the Winniebago, and it's not the Spaceballs truck. I had a friend visiting from Indonesia, and I was showing them around. And
I'm not going to say anything. Yep. That's why I was calling it the Winniebago. Anyway.
So he's dead meat when she meets him because she'll kill him.
She didn't get the joke either, apparently. Paul got it straight away. That's why Paul was laughing on stream the other week, because he got it straight away. Anyway, so Rivica says...
I got it straight away.
Yeah.
I got it straight away.
Yeah. Strivicus asked, have you got the Starlancer attack in your collection already?
No. I don't have any of the Starlancers in my collection at the moment.
Yeah, me either. So yeah, I'll let you...
I can't afford... I haven't been able to afford anything new since last year when I was organising to go to SitCon.
I think Pissball Peter's just got in your bad books. If you read Twitch chat, I'm not going to read what he says, but you read it to yourself.
Let's see what.
Don't read it out loud. Just read it to yourself. He's going to be in trouble with you later. Charlie McAwesome says, "How disappointed and upset are you and we that Drake seems to have become respectable and have been invited to Invictus, albeit for one day? How quick are you selling all your Drake ships?" I just think it's an oversight. I think it's just. I think they're going to be in their own hangar. I think it's somewhere else. I'll wait and see.
If they are invited to Invictus, and it's because they've got this rare respectability by having this Corvette-sized ship, great. Will it make me sell my Drake ships? No. It would probably make me buy more Drake ships because they're now respectable and not seen as criminal.
Yep.
Those of you who are criminal and or don't like being part of the, you're taking the aim to misbehave attitude to the UE being evil. I would have thought if they're respectable, it means they're actually adhering to the safety standards and everything else, which it's got to be a good thing, as opposed to being stuck together with gaffer tape and stuff. So either way, it doesn't matter. But if they are respectable, great. If they're not respectable, well, same-o, same-o. All right, Sterbin says, the anvil display. The small section could be a hologram for a new concept ship. Also a sneak peek, probably Grey Cat MTC.
It could be a hologram. I never thought of it. That's actually a really good, yeah. I'd agree with that. Could be a hologram. Doesn't have the fence. Doesn't have the fencing around it though, to be honest.
And they usually put them in a cage as well, so.
Yeah.
But he also says, so it could be a hologram, as you say, it could be a hologram table like the ones we used to have in our hangars for the, the stations. So yes, but he also says, also a sneak peek, probably a Grey Cat MTC, and this was sent at 828, so MTC variant missile, vehicle like the Storm, picture is upside down. So yes, that I think is our view as well at present.
Yeah. The bot has crashed and it keeps repetitively crashing, so we're gonna have to start taking them from the chat.
Oh no!
Apologies, but it's out of my control. I don't know what's going on. It just keeps crashing over and over and over.
Yep. So I'll have to get Piggles in. Piggles.
I've already sent him a message.
Yep. Okay, so Samuel IY says, how long would CIG take to give us the BMM? We keep getting new ships that are always made first, but never fully work on backlog. Attack is new and became an old excuse CIG keeps doing. I think you need to go back and have a look at the episode we did recently on the backlog. I think we called it Where's My Ship?
Yep.
Or Dude, Where's My Ship?
Yep.
What's the title of our video? Because when you look at the backlog of ships, apart from ships like the Endeavour, which we know is going to be delayed because the gameplay is not there, there's very few ships in the backlog. We know that the BMM had been worked on at one point, and then a lot of the staff moved on. And for whatever reason, that's been delayed. Now, part of that delay, I think, is due to not having the library for the BMM, not having the library for Banu ships or Banu styling. One thing that helps with Banu styling is, believe it or not, our new friend with his bazaar, because that's Banu styling all over the place. So I don't think that they're not working on it. I think there's just other things that have been more important than getting the BMM. And I've always taken the view, I don't care if they take a long time on my ships. The longer they take, usually the better they are. They meet the new gold standard, as opposed to an Aurora MX standard. So, yeah.
I'm trying to open the thumbnail for this, but it keeps auto playing. It's this one here. It's got a banner on it, but every time I open it, it's just auto playing. I was trying to bring it up so you could see the thumbnail, but that's what it's called. Yep. Dude, where's my ship?
Yeah, and that is the episode you really want to go and look at. We went through every ship that hadn't been out and on the backlog, and I think it surprised us how many ships really were there. So we went through the ships that, it was surprising. There was only one or two that really. That's
kind of it there. And I realized after we did this, by the way, these are just all of them. So and these are the ones that are left. So anything that's already been released is removed. So pick one, 890 jump reclaimer, blah blah blah. They're all off. So these are just the ones to come out. But as you see, as you go down, the one real big year is that, was it 2015 or whatever, where they put out all the big capital industry ships and stuff like that. So but most of them are coming out, and as they come out, they're getting knocked off You know, or the little holdovers like the Zeus MR and stuff like that that are waiting for gameplay and things like that. So you're not waiting too long, to be honest with you. Most of them that come on here, they get knocked off. It's just the really big ones that have got stuck on there. And you can see other little hagglers back there are waiting for gameplay, like the Apollo and stuff like that. The Vulcan's waiting for drones, stuff like that. Everything is just generally big ships that get stuck on there.
Yeah. And there are a couple of things that surprised us, like that one year with no ships left to come out because they've done them. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth one down. I can't read the date on the screen. Sorry.
So Jason Giles is asking, hey guys, hope all is well. What do you guys suggest CCUs to from the ORLN with 100 in credits? Not sure what I want, what to do in game. I like the idea of trading goods, like a flea market. Okay, so he wants to kind of sell things. I would say there's no shop ship like a shop ship yet, but that sounds like the type of thing that you probably want. But maybe cargo. So if you've got an Aurora LN 100 in credits, that basically, what's that, $145? I'm thinking whole B, $140.
Yep, that would be your upgrade ship, yeah.
Is what I would go to. But also remember, if you're happy to put in a little bit extra cash, there'll be Warbond CCUs that'll bring the price down. So you can probably extend that a little further and get yourself up to something else. I don't. You probably only make $30, $40 though at that low end. But you could also go up to another ship like the Taurus or something like that if you want to go a little higher. Yes, you lose the cargo, but you get a lot more functionality.
Yeah.
But
and that's,
again,
that ultimately comes at the trade-off you've got to look at. Do I just want to do cargo, or do I want to try and balance things out and give myself that versatility gameplay?
So you if you have questions like this, go on the Discord. You can in every video there's a link to the Discord. If you go there, you can essentially go into the Fix My Fleet channel, or check out My Fleet, or any of the channels in there, and find people to talk to. There are dedicated channels for people that you don't just get mine and Algared'S advice. You get people that we've kind of vetted, and other people have vetted that know what they're talking about. And they don't always agree with me and Algared. That's a key part of it. It's to essentially, but they know the basic underlying principle of how to make the most money for you. But they might like miss ships, and me and Algared like Aegis, whatever. That doesn't matter. It's the core principle of how to teach you. And so you can get differing opinions.
Yeah, and they'll go through once you've got the principles, it's just a matter of pick the things that best suit you. And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. Yeah. Look at the gameplay you like, pick a ship or style that best fits that. And then, either go fully down that and just be I suppose one-dimensional in terms of that, or open yourself up to be able to do combat, trading, carrying troops, or whatever. So,
we are going to have to try and take some questions from chat because
the bot is not working.
The bot is dead. So there's one there from Citizen Ninja and Sisyphus. So did Algared get a caravan motorhome? I'll let you answer that one, Algared.
No.
He'll go red again if he does it again. Sisyphus says, question, with GTA 6 being pushed back to May 2025, 2026, so this is May next year, do you think it will change the timeline for SC releasing? I still think more likely it's going to come around CitizenCon. So I'd be hoping that it's CitizenCon next year. And I think that you would agree, Algared, that is 6 months lead time. I think that's more than enough to separate the two.
Yep, I would hope so. We've also got Alzilla's question from our bot questions. What do you think today? We've done that one because it's what is today's sneak peek. We think it's looking like it's upside down. It's probably the MTC.
Yeah. I can probably bring it back up real quick. Here we go. So, because the lights are all, if you look at the original, wherever it was, God, I can't remember where it was now. I've lost it, but yeah, the original, all the lights are upside down. So just by flipping it to the rotation of the lights, it looks a lot more like an MTC. Yep. Me anyway. Lemming still thinks it's something else, and that's his prerogative to do so. But I'm pretty sure it's an MTC.
Now, I don't know if you just did this question because I was kind of half distracted. I apologise. So, Sisyphus had two questions. The first one was...
Yeah, we did one.
Could it be the flight recorder box? I'm not sure what he was referring to there.
That would be one that we hadn't done.
Yep. So I'm not sure of the context of that one. And the other question was with GTA 6.
Yeah, we did that.
Pushed.
We did that one.
Yep.
That's what I asked you, and you kind of ignored it because you moved straight on to another question. So yeah. So you know what Grand Theft Auto is, though, Algared?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was
great big monstrosity.
Yeah. So that's meant to come out. That was meant to come out at the end of this year. It has now been pushed to May. And what I was essentially saying is, I don't think I don't think they will release Squadron anywhere near this. So I think more than likely now it kind of confirms to me that we're more than likely getting Squadron around
CitizenCon.
Yeah, next year.
Which I think perfectly fits for the digital CitizenCon. So yeah, I don't think that's a necessarily a bad thing. But yeah. Oh, GTA 6 got pushed by basically half a year.
Yeah.
Oh no, what are they doing with all their money? Where's my game? Sorry, I'm just echoing what we often see from.
Yeah, it's fine.
Star Citizen backers complaining.
Trader Gator in YouTube says, do you think that the Paladin will be released in Invictus? No, the Paladin is not coming, but another Valkyrie-esque variant, because the other thing is for the developers, they work as variants, but the way they sell them, they're not variants. And the one that's coming is the Asgard. And I think we can very clearly from the audio files, I could go find them again if you guys really want to hear them. But there's an audio file that talks something about it, bringing the heavy hitters to the front line, knowing that there is a space. Trying to find it. Give me a minute. I got to go back through everything I opened today. It'll take me a hot minute. That's that one. That one. So there's this area called ground combat in the halls, and then there's this area that's perfectly fitted to be roughly the same size as a Valkyrie with two tanks on the outside of it. I think that pretty much confirms that it is a heavy vehicle transporter, as it says it is in the audio recordings. And I think I'm thinking it's for one heavy vehicle. So you carry like a ballista or an Atlas platform or one of these, and any other big vehicles that come down the road.
And yes, you could make it bigger, but then the bigger ship. And then, so you've got whole piles of questions to go with that. So is it just two tanks for symmetry, or is it saying that it takes two tanks? And
Actually, I'm just curious. If I go back to this, can we see anything related to a door or anything? And you can't see the bottom of it at all. Like, that's what they're hiding, because that's what we really want to see. It's just enough.
What about the front view? When it flies to the front, does it fly to the front?
No. It does in the other one, but you only see it from the back, and again, you see pretty much exactly what
CIG wants you.
Yeah, I'll just mute this real quick. It does go to the front, but see, and then it's gone. You don't really see anything new at all.
Yeah.
But I believe that this is unless I'm wrong, that is a smaller snippet of the full trailer that will come out closer to release. Because they're usually 2 minutes, and they show sneak peeks of everything. And that's coming, but that clearly only shows one. So and the bit that's right at the end, and it's only 21 minutes long. Usually they're 2 minutes, so which is kind of in line with the other kind of 3 things we're expecting to come. Right. Do you want to do another question from the ones we've got there? I wish I could get the bot back up and working, but it's just not agreeing with me today, and I don't know why.
So Thelenmon says, what are the competitors for the Starlancer attack?
Redeemer, Paladin, anything that's basically a gunship. I'd even say the Perseus would fall into that, but it would be way above it.
I would think at the lower end you'd have the Connies and the Drake. exploration vehicle ship, which always eludes me.
Yeah, well, I just got some more. The bot worked and it didn't crash. I think it's something to do with, believe it or not, Twitch that's breaking it, because none of the Twitch questions came through. But there's a couple more questions there in YouTube, Algared, if you want to go through them. You ready?
Yep. Well, I've still got 3 up the top. So
Okay,
IT Viking. For me, it's more a question of our small group needs the TAC if we already have a Polaris. So, yeah, does a group need a TAC if they've got a Polaris?
They are kind of a little different, though. You know, you've got a Polaris that's essentially built for, what is it, 12, 13 people type of thing. This is only 4 people. It's the size of the group, you know.
The Matrix of Lies had at one point the listing as the TAC is 1 to 6, so the max is 1 to 4, and the TAC is 1 to 6. My
point being wrong factually is what I'm actually trying to say, though, is it's still a people thing. Yeah.
Oh, right. Absolutely. And actually, like you look at the Polaris, it
actually says 1 to 7.
Yep. So that one says 1 to 7. The Matrix of Life says 1 to 6, but a Polaris is 6 to 14.
Yeah.
So again, it just reiterates what you're saying about the size of a group determines basically what you've got. If you've got a
And again, if you go down to 4 people, there's a paladin. So you can essentially pick a ship to fit your group size composition. Yeah, like I totally think there is room for a ship like this. But the other thing that I'd put out to you, Algared, knowing what you know, because I'll just pull it up, save argument. Don't even have to think about it then. Right. If you had this, obviously there's a cost factor. Which one would you be taking? And they are different, by the way, right? Because this one is really to fight ships around it and below it and stuff like that. This is going to be weak to fighters. This is not going to have a hope against fighters. That's literally why when they sold this, you'll remember, there was a pack that came with 2 anvil arrows.
Yep. Why does it need 2 anvil arrows? It needs 2 anvil arrows to be escorts.
Because it's going to be weak. It's got these big, massive size 7 guns, but they're going to be. They've got bespoke ammo that has kind of got loaders that tells you it's slow firing.
Yeah.
So they're going to hit like an absolute truck, right? This is designed to punch up, so it could take on a Polaris type of thing, but it's not designed to go down. That's its weakness. It's kind of like the Ares, where the Ares can punch up, but it's completely weak to other fighters.
And you even see that in the lore. This is an old model ship. It goes with Admiral Bishop into the Legion, and it takes out
right there, Algared. Right there. If you want to read it,
I can't read that. It's too small.
I'll read it for you though. It says the Perseus was constructed in the late 2520s, a few years before the Zion-Human Cold War. The gunships were frequently deployed along the Perry line, making them a regular fixture after Zion-Human first contact in 2030. In 28-23, the RSI retired their Perseus from production due to lack of interest from the UEN. During Operation Mandrake in 2946, so this is like 180 years later, the Vandal War, an Aegean Perseus UES Achilles managed to take down 2 Vandal destroyers when the ship was damaged beyond repair due to its performance. UEN Admiral Ensign Bishop personally lobbied RSI to start producing Perseus models again for use against the Vandal because it was so good. And that's what you were talking about.
That's why we've got the new the current Perseus. So they modernized a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll read the last one here. It says, following the Perseus success against the Vandal, RSI expanded development to include a civilian version under the Military Mobilization Initiative. The new Perseus, equipped with a modernized weapons and redesigned lower deck, could accommodate cargo vehicles, was released on a day 9 of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2950 event. Everything.
So it's a ship that's meant to punch up. It's a ship it could be a danger to the Javelin. That's basically what they're saying. It took out Vandal destroyers. 2 of them. One Perseus managed to take out 2 Vandal destroyers. But got damaged beyond repair. So punching up.
First time chatter in Twitch saying, I want to say that I love those Audio Technica he's talking about my headphones. No, and I just replied, no, you can't have them.
Yep. Yep.
Right. Next question, please.
Another question. Robert Voles had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe the Raft price will increase? What about the whole B? What do you think those prices will be?
I don't think it will increase. And I'm going to be honest, because if it increases at all, there's only a $15 gap between it and the whole B. And I would already be recommending to most people to go to whole B. I know some people are seeing the Raft as an upgrade. I see it as a downgrade because it's clearly designed as a sky crane, and it's now pivoted just to be another cargo ship.
Yep.
That's what really disappoints me. It tells me that it's no longer a sky crane, and you can argue with me back and forth. That's totally fine because we'll never know what was going to happen. But the fact that it drastically changed tell me it was something else.
I think the fact you had that back viewing port to control the to control the,
and now you can't even you go up to that now, you can't see anything because it's all in the way. It deliberately had a gap that you could see all the way down and all that. It had 3 clamps that carried just 32 SU cargo containers. That's exactly what the whole C has abreast. It was clearly what it was designed for. And why does it have 2 people on a ship like that only carried 3 boxes?
No,
one flies, one drives the crane. That's why. And when you kind of add it all through, now they've pivoted to make it just another cargo ship. At $15, you can get the whole B that takes 2 people, and it takes heaps more cargo. Why wouldn't you? And it's like, it's not a small amount of cargo more. It's literally almost, I'll bring it back up again. I'm just going to find it again. Raft. Here's the, I'll put it over.
When you look at the Raft, the Raft in its role as a sky crane really fitted in with Argo's style. They were stevedores. They were the moving stock between stations, making it just another cargo ship. I think lessens its value for me.
Yeah, so it's almost 300 SCU more on the whole B for $15. And the only detracting factor that I've been able to look at and figure out that's in a positive towards the Raft is it has a tractor beam. The whole B doesn't currently have that. Now, that's not to say in the rework it won't get one and stuff like that. But, like, again, 1 or 2 crew on both ships, and it's a $15 price difference. I know which one I'd be buying. And also, you're talking high tech versus medium tech. And the whole B's not out, so it's also going to go up again. Right? So, right now, the gap is only 15, but the Raft is out. It already tells you which one you should be upgrading into. Get the whole B, because if it cut again, it's going to go up by 10 to 15%. That means it's going to go up by $15 to $30. That gap's not going to be 15. It's going to be like 45.
Yep.
And when you add all that together, it's you'd be crazy if you've got a Raft not to jump ship right now. And what I mean by that is you don't have to actually apply the upgrade. Just buy it and sit on it. And if it doesn't pan out the way you want, you just melt it back into $15 credit and apply it to something else. But if I had a Raft, I want to use it right now, I would use the Raft and have an upgrade to this. And I'd be recommending that to everybody, especially because the Sky Crane gave it a really unique feature that no other ship was going to have, and it would have been a really unique gameplay. And it now looks like, what I'm assuming, Agrid, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong here, I think it's got something to do with the cargo walls. I think because it's now a wall, they've moved more to tractor beaming stuff across, not picking it up with a crane and deploying it. I think that's what the shift is.
Yep. Look, I think it also ties in with a technical issue, like which is easier to do.
Yep.
And which is the less work. And I think it's part of that. Okay, it's time for us to stop the dreaming and look at what can be done quickly, efficiently, and consistently. And a sky crane, as good as the idea is, and as nice as those moving parts are, just doesn't fit the bill. It's more work. It's more can break.
I was already thinking of this before you said it, Pete, but Algared was talking, so I had to let him finish. But basically, I assumed something like, I already made up a name while I was thinking, but it was Argo Load. It's some kind of thing that flies in, and it's just like 4 tractor beams.
Yep.
And you or whatever, you know what I mean? And it just helps you unload your ship. It's just a tractor beam loading ship. All it does. Yep. And you could see that parking above the whole sea, and it just goes boop, 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 boop. Then it goes to the next spindle. Boop, 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 boop.
Yep. Look, and when you look at even the idea of the Argo MP multi-purpose vehicle, you know, being used by hull sea captains to unload the hull seas, I think that's even going by the board, because it was again the same type of idea. It was, you could see the Raft was an upgrade from that, from one cargo to 3.
Yeah,
but if they're just using tractor beams now, you don't need those ships to do that. You use other tools.
Well, you don't even need ships if you think about it. They could just have tractor beams on the station.
Yeah.
They could actually have tractor beam turrets on the station. There's so many different ways they could get away with it. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see how it pans out. But they're obviously not doing the sky crane anymore. And for anyone that doesn't think it's a sky crane, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you, but you can tell it's changing, and it's drastically changing. So that tells me that something has changed, no matter what you used to think it used to be. But there's heaps of extra polygons on top of that. It very much looked like it expanded out and stretched into a like a rail. So essentially the crane could move backwards and forwards on the rail and unload the ship, almost like on a port. But clearly they're not doing that anymore because of the wall. Because the wall thing doesn't work anymore if you think about it from a crane perspective, because you'd have to have the ship sideways. So the whole design changed. They were clearly going to have it on top of the station, and then all of a sudden now they've gone to this wall. It just doesn't work anymore. It's a shame.
100% agree.
It's a shame. I would have liked to have seen that, but maybe they've just considered it's too niche. Algared, what do you think in regards to besides the change to the wall? Instead of just pivoting the ship to help unload and load, and because it was sold as a cargo ship, I think they've just had to pivot. I don't think they've got any other choice. So they
I think the way Argo developed as being, you know, stevedores, the MPUV was used, you know, if it didn't have its cargo pod on the end, you could use it to pull out pods and dock them. I think that I can see the Raft was developing that and was a bigger version. But as you said, you know, the way you unload at a station has changed. And I think they went for the simpler option, quicker option. You know, you can sit there and just have automated tractor beams and drones doing the offloading now rather than using ships. The wall makes that easier. And I think they've gone the simpler option.
Well, it makes
to do that.
It makes it less bespoke. It makes it more generalized, and I agree with you on that.
And that's the other thing. It makes it's that one system that's used by everything rather than having something that's more bespoke. And I think that's what's going on, and how that's going to impact the MPUV. And I can see someone in chat saying the MPVUT can do that at the moment.
Exactly.
How it's going to change. Well,
again, it's the type of small ship that you can be at a port. You know, someone can EVA across, or you drop them off or whatever, and then they go in, claim it, respawn it, pull it out, help you unload the thing, and you're done. Yeah, you don't need this big dedicated ship. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. And I think that's probably what they're moving towards. Again, that this is not the first ship we've seen this happen to, right? Another really good one is the Hoplite. We've kind of talked a bit about the Valkyrie and the Paladin and the Asgard today, but that's why the whole Valkyrie came about, because they needed a drop ship for Squadron, and they took the Vanguard and modified into the Hoplite. Hoplite's not used anymore. They ended up going back and doing it again. They made the Valkyrie because they knew they wanted to use the Cyclones and stuff.
Yeah, and originally
that was after the Puberta Planet, wasn't it? It increased.
Yeah, and when you look at the original launch of the Javelin, which was for Squadron, the ship that was supposed to be in the hangar for that was the Redeemer.
Yep.
Redeemer wasn't ready, couldn't do the job.
Yep.
So it got changed. They put the Valkyrie in, the Hoplite in to do the role. That's now changed. It's now the you know. So you can see the development as game's gone on. As things change, where they can pivot, they have, and that's just. I think this is just one of those similar changes. So yeah,
there's a lot of ships that seem a bit neat. The Max, not the Max. Sorry, the Steel. I was going to say the Cutlass Max. That was where my brain was going. But it was like
the Cutlass Coffin.
At the time that came out, literally 28 people. The server only held 50 people. It was ridiculous. And there was just no need for it to do that. It made no sense. It clearly looked like it's something they had made for, at the time, the Theaters of the War, because you could see that they needed a ship to get people from the planet up to the space station. And that's why it had the gun turrets on the doors and all that, because they wanted you to shoot at the people on the platforms as you were landing. Like, you can see the whole thing. But then it just landed with an absolute thud because it was so much more expensive. They thought it was amazing. I thought they'd made the best thing since sliced bread. But it is a great ship. Like, if you actually get in and fly it, it is hard to die in that thing, but it is not worth the asking price, considering you used to be able to get, I know it's gone up a bit in price, but you used to be able to get 2 Cutlass Blacks at the time and a Dragonfly for the same price.
Yeah, and that was insane.
Insane.
And you're talking Drake ships, so Drake ships is not even... And a Drake ship of the same class as the 2 Cutlass Blacks.
That said, it doesn't. It's better than some other ships at that price point, because you can literally get a Corsair for, I think, was it $15 more now? Like, and then you've got all those other fighters there that are so much worse, like the Ares, the Scorpius, and all that type of thing. They have even less functionality than the Steel.
I do have to pull in discussion from. I think it's YouTube, about the Hull B and the Raft. Sol Galaxy says the Hull B doesn't have the same interior as the Raft, but the Raft has a teddy bear. If you could pick up a teddy bear, even better, but you can't. So.
Yeah, a great interior doesn't take away from the fact that it has terrible functionality, and it's all. Me and Algared have a lot of these arguments, right? But generalistically, you would agree with me, function over form.
Oh, I always like function over form.
Right. And it there's little things Algared will argue about lore and stuff like that. It's always the function before the form. And you've got to strip your own feelings out of it, because like Algared might go, oh, I love Origin ships. And I might go, well, I love Drake ships. That's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with the pure functionality of it, and you have to look at it that way, because especially when we give our generalized advice, we have to take a lot of our own feelings out of it. And we've told people this, haven't we, Algared? We break our own rules. When we go back to look at this on a personal level, we break those generalized rules. It's being able to compartmentalize and disconnect yourself from the situation. You have to do that when you are generalizing, right? And if you look at it on paper, you can no longer look at the Raft anymore and say that is a good purchase.
Yep.
In fact, I would even go further and ask you this real quick. Based on knowing how they land, I would say the Raft is also worse to unload than the whole B, because the whole B is on the exterior and the other one is underneath. So you've got those 4 legs you've got to kind of like maneuver around.
Yep. The other thing is, in terms of price, going back to the will the Raft go up in price question, Sol Galaxia does point out that the Taurus recently went up in price, but I think that was for the Taurus, I think that was a necessary increase, because it was so cheap compared to the other.
Gone up couple of times over the time. It used to be 150. It's gone up like 2 or 3 times. I'd have to go back and check.
And I think the current price fits better with the pricing of the Connies, and given what it can do. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Connies. I didn't used to like the Taurus because you lost your P52, but I've got to admit, given that they now, they gave you that bottom turret back with tractor beams, that really raised the Taurus up for me in many ways. So
going back to the Cutlass Steel for a sec, Charlie McAwesome in YouTube chat says Cutlass Steel is chrome. Yeah, but then they should have called it the Cutlass Silver. They broke they have one of the coolest naming conventions, just simple, elegant colors, right? And then why didn't they use that for other ships they did? So why isn't it the Cutter Yellow, the Cutter Blue, the Cutter Green, or whatever? They should have done that. They had the best naming culture. Colors is simple, easy, and elegant to remember. None of this MTC, FB, FSM. What is that? The CSV FM and the CSV SM? Like, it's word salad, mate. No one wants that shit. Cutlass Blue, Cutlass Red, Cutlass Black, and then they butchered it. Anyway, the same thing I said earlier today. Like with the Grey Cat MTC, all the others besides the Rock that have come out from Grey Cat were all letter TV, ETV, STV, all that type of thing. And there's another one that I'm forgetting, and I can't remember. Oh, UTV.
Yeah.
UTV was the last one.
Yeah, I'd like to see them stick to their normal naming convention rather than bringing out new things. Once we've got a brand that's got a naming convention, stick with a naming convention.
Because then we could have just shortened it and made it a little bit like the Idris. So it would have just been Grey Cat M, Grey Cat S, Steve, Peeve, all those little jokes that we had. But MTC totally breaks that. Yep. Mobile tactical vehicle. Why didn't you just make it military terrain vehicle? Problem solved. I did it myself in 5 seconds. Thanks, Make a Shake. Anyway, no one will get that reference, but no, tell me if you get that reference. Anyway,
I did see some chat on Twitch there talking about refreshing us and won't get our medical stream up, but then the problems with regen tech could have caused problems there. So yeah, that was I just thought that was humorous. But they go on and they do ask, isn't the steel the same price as the Corsair? And if it is, that just, I think, emphasises that point. It's a rip-off. Might be a great ship, but it's a rip-off at the bare minimum. So, Shempasa has a question.
Yeah.
Also, question is, how easy will it be to load and unload Aurelian? And that's a good question. I think it's one we've talked about.
It's literally the linchpin of the whole thing. And we won't know until it comes. We just won't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just trying to keep tabs of the Twitch chat as well as
SA saying in YouTube chat the Cutlass Black should have been the base model and just called it the Cutlass. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. Could have saved the black for another model or whatever, but yeah.
100% agree on that.
Technically speaking, it was the Cutlass, just like it was the Connie until the other variants came along, and then they renamed them. So it was a Cutlass, and then they made a Cutlass Black. It's the same. It's what you're bringing up there, SA, is exactly my problem with the Starlancer. It shouldn't be called the Max. It just should be called the Starlancer. It doesn't do anything above the other variants that they don't do, other than carry a little bit of extra cargo because they negated that. But there's no base variant, so it's just Starlancer.
How can it be the Max when it's not doing anything
in addition
more maximum than a base? So yeah, but I think that's us preaching to each other.
Well, yeah, but it's just marketing. Oh, how can we make this sound cool? Oh, we'll put the Max on it because then it's got more cargo. No, it's just a Starlancer.
Yeah, let's sell it for $19.95 or $99.95 because it's not 100. Yeah. Did the Legionnaire have missiles? Is Pissball Pete's question. We're not answering that because you insulted me earlier, Pissball Pete.
No,
you're now in my bad books. I read that question. You that very rude comment you made. So,
I will answer it though. Let's look it up real quick, Gilly. You just be quiet. Okay. I'll do it for him. It's fine.
So is the Polaris a missile variant?
No, it was Legionnaire, he said, didn't he?
Oh, sorry, Legionnaire. Sorry, that was Dev Frog's next question. Sorry, I missed that. I did actually start to look it up, but I forgot what I found.
It's got a distortion remote turret. It's got no missiles. It's just turrets and pilot weapons. That's it. There's no missiles on the Legionnaire.
So, could it? So the question is. So no, the Legionnaire didn't have missiles. Dead Frog comes in and says, "Is this the Polaris missile variant?" Why would I want a missile variant on a Polaris? It's already got torpedoes and big guns. That would be a downgrade to
me. For the size of it, I just don't see that happening. If you're doing missiles, you just take a smaller ship. It seems superfluous to me. I will say this before we leave the Legionnaire though. I would fully expect that when this comes out, there'll be at least one other variant of the Legionnaire. I'm just seeing that like with a lot of stuff, they're doing a lot more variants now. They've just realized like it's so cheap for them not to reuse stuff. And again, I look at that Legionnaire as a smaller version of what essentially is happening with the Valkyrie, and we're getting a Paladin and the Asgard. I don't know about you, Algared, but knowing that there's you know, the military names there in the Legionnaire, they could essentially take, I know there's Spartans already gone and stuff like that, but you could look at other, you're more into history than I am. Legionnaire that was like one of their troops, wasn't it?
That was a Roman just soldier. French had foreign legionnaires.
Did they have
legionnaires were just...
Okay, so well, you got Legionnaire. What did they call their archers as an example?
Oh, I'd have to go back and have a look.
Well, that's not good enough, Algared. You meant to mentally know all my questions at a time.
No,
you're going to read my mind. This is terrible, Algared. Expect more of you.
Focus on different areas and become... But like academics, we learn more and more about less and less till we know absolutely everything about nothing.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who makes the Legionnaire? Which brand?
Anvil.
Anvil. All right, let's have a look. Find it down here.
Legate, Eagle Bearer. Oh, the Quillifier was the Eagle Bearer. This is what I do. I'm a bit silly, but I basically just Google. So I said list of Romy army unit types, and this is like all the ones that came out.
Yeah.
Squillia, and you just go through and you just go, which one sounds cool? And they have them all. Doctor, Petties, like there's heaps of them. Primus.
Yeah.
So you can see, and again, much like Scorpion, you can change it to Scorpius and stuff like that. So you can do reworded versions or updated versions of these words. Medicus. I like that. I like that a lot. Legionary, Legatus, Petoris. Oh, the Predator. Anvil Predator. I like that a lot.
Praetor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Praetor, but just reword it slightly. Predator. Predator. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong. But anyway. Yeah, you get little cool things that come out like that. Doesn't always work out, but it's cool if you're speculating at the very least. So yeah.
But yeah, I dead frag. I can't see a Polaris ever being a missile variant. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a torpedo boat. So in a sense, it is the missile variant because torpedoes are just very big missiles. So, then we finally get down to the restarted bot with the YouTube questions.
Yep.
Some
of these we would have gone through as well.
Yeah.
That one there we've already done. C. Nolan says, speaking of Titan suits, did SA pick a winner from the last stream? Yeah, SA, you slack ass. Have you had time after wrangling all your children? He's had a lot on his plate lately. His significant other's been out of action. She's had some trouble with her leg. I'll leave it at that. So he's been doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, SA, have you managed to go through and had time to pull someone out? If you want to pull someone out, and we can give it away right now if you want to. Yeah, just let us know in chat, and we'll if you want to just drop in Discord, and we'll drag you up, and you can give it talk if you want to. You've got time, SA. Up to you. Right. Danavirus says, what do you both think about the flight blades or changing a ship? Could be flight characteristics. I honestly go back to, because they often use the term AI blades, don't they, Algared? That's what they call them. So my thought is actually you can put it in a ship and it allows an AI to fly the ship. That's where my brain goes. And I'd expect that the other one that's very easy for them to do, because it just enables something, is the turrets as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought it would be turrets that would get AI flight, assisted landing, assisted flight in atmosphere. But yeah, I'll wait and see what they do, because I'm not really sure.
All right. Michael Mansfield says, did you fully no, I never got your question. Michael Mansfield, if you would like to re-ask it, we will we'll have a look.
We did answer a Michael Mansfield question.
Did we?
It was a Flight Blades question.
Yep.
The very first Flight Blades was when we answered, which is, with them adding Flight Blades, do you think they will add hacking in soon after? When
hacking comes. That's what the Legionnaire is waiting for. I'd assume that the hacking ones will come with that.
Yeah.
But it probably is a big part of hacking gameplay.
that's one of the things we look at when we're looking at the backlog of ships. Most of the ships that we're waiting for but haven't come are waiting for their gameplay. And as the gameplay comes, then those ships arrive. So, and that's why the Legion is not here yet, and why we don't expect it to be at Invictus launch week. So,
right. That one's done. Do you think the Paladin? No, we've done that one. Yeah, I think we're out of questions. So, let's you guys. I'll give you a couple minutes to get a question in. Scroll down. I replied soon, Tam. I'll take a look now. All right, so SA's going to have a look right now, and he's going to see if it, we'll try and hang around it, see if you can get that done now. I don't really have anything else to talk about. So
Sol Galaxy's last question that came through on the bot was kind of a discussion, but with attack, I question if I need my Valk and do I need my Corsair as well. So she's got a Valk and a Corsair. With attack, does attack replace both of those, or not?
Well, again, you've got 4 people in the Corsair. You've got as many people. The different roles again. I could see people owning both. Try a tracking game and then answer the question after that. There's no need to jump the gun and do it before you've seen everything. You know, the tack could come out and it's too big for most people. You know, it's going to cost, as soon as it's bigger, it costs more to run. If you've only got 3 people in the game that day, and you've only got the tack, well, you're going to lose a lot of money running it. You know, so
it really does come down to your gameplay, and we can't answer how you like to play the game. The Valkyrie, small crew, Corsair, slightly more crew, attack, more crew, but again, as you go up, you get more variation. If you're questioning, do you need attack, and you want to do the same type of gameplay as attack offers, then you've got a Connie. Connie's a smaller ship, has 1 to 4, has pretty much has the same gameplay. It's considered a gunship. It's got the snub ship. The advantage of attack over the Connie is the hangar enables you to do repair of the snub.
Yeah.
But the converse of that is you've got a Connie that's 20 meters shorter and a third of the height, third of the width, and a couple of meters lower. So smaller ship. So, but yeah.
Steak says, "I Legionnaire coming." Oh, he's meant to say is. Yeah, he's meant to say is the Legionnaire coming in Invictus. No, it's not.
We don't believe so.
There's
mainly because the gameplay's not there for starters, but we haven't heard anything either.
There's nothing in the files that points towards it at all. So a mention on Twitch. Normally we read questions, but it says Inforunners, I aim for the M2 over the TAC. Different strokes for different folks. You know, nothing wrong with the M2 if you like the M2.
Nope.
Different for different people. But you might want to look at the Asgard mech bridge or mech rotor, sorry. When that drops, because again, it looks like it's going to carry one big vehicle that basically be half the size of the M2 or smaller than.
I am going to say, Griff, since you just posted a question on Twitch, if you want, come and join us in chat. Come and join us in our channel.
You just
love to have you.
Drop in an audio channel, Griff, if you want, and we'll just drag you up.
That's right.
On Inforunners.
Don't be a stranger. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right.
And
price speculation on AI blades. They're just a component, man. They're not going to be that expensive. I think they'll just.
I'd even expect them to be cheaper than a component because they're just a plug-in to.
Well, they're a subcomponent, technically speaking. So yeah, I don't think they'll be too expensive. Almost like the price of a fuse or something like that is what I'd be expecting in that ballpark. They are pretty tiny.
Yeah. Griffin Gaming says, question, Any predictions for Alien Week this year? Anything new being introduced? Nothing that I've heard.
So that's the other thing. There is no concepts even talked about, and they'll never be leaked in the files. They're the new things that I'm expecting, right? Is concepts for things. So again, if you go back and look, like there's no way that I can definitively say this is what's coming, right? But I could give you an example, and you would kind of agree with me on this, right? We go back and look at the schedule as an example, right? There's nothing to say that on every day between the other days, as an example, like on Origin, RSI, or Argo Day, one of those guys could be giving us a concept for something. And then Crusader and Tumbril over here, they could be giving us something as well. And then maybe Drake's giving us something as well. Maybe that's why Drake is, as everyone's theorizing, is in, because they have finally got something that the military has accepted. Maybe it's a Titan suit. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But this is the one thing. There's just there's normally we don't have this many ships coming out, do we? We probably get 1 or 2 ships in the files, and then we get a concept. But here we've got 4 ships coming, and no mentions of concept. So there's definitely some stuff being conceptualized here. Maybe that Drake ship, Algared, maybe that Drake ship is the just to throw it out there, right? And I don't agree with what I'm about to say, but what if, right? And I'm just trying to get you guys to think outside the box. That's
Blue curtain, horrible thing, yeah.
But yep, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Maybe they give us a concept for this. Open with. Maybe they give us a concept for this.
Maybe they give us a concept for that for wherever it falls. Maybe we get a concept for the RSI Mantis Heavy Fighter.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
I've talked about it.
Yep.
So.
And again, like what happened with the Ironclad, it doesn't necessarily like it's a great place to release Drake ships because they're not under the military banner, so they can release whatever they want. That's why the Ironclad was announced there, because it allowed them to announce it there and not tread on the Invictus stuff. By the same token, they could announce this, and it's not a fighter at all. It allows them to do that with Drake. Because of the way Drake has shunned.
Although Drake do call it Defense Con, but you know when they do their thing, so it hints they're trying.
You get what I'm trying? Well, the Ironclad,
but because it's
the only part of the Ironclad that agreed with that is the assault thing, but they sold 2 variants.
Yeah, but because Defense Con isn't part of Invictus launch week, it's not. It's not military. Drake can do our thing. We're just going to sell everything. So yeah. So you've got those options. So
yeah, it is a really good question actually, because I would have to assume there's at least one concept in there somewhere, at least one. Don't know what or where that is, but it's a really good point because we almost always get a concept sale at those sales.
And that really does tie in with Danverous's question. Do you think we will get a brand new concept ship for a variant during Invictus launch week? Which is basically just exactly what we just said.
Well, yeah, but I don't think it's necessarily. It doesn't have to be a variant. It could be anything.
No.
It could very well be a variant though as well. I have to make the assumption though when I look at that. Yeah. Now I start to look back at other things like that's so tough because there's so much new going on in that hall, and there's no hologram viewer things at all at the moment that I could see anyway. I'll have to go back and have a look again tomorrow or later on today. But yeah, it's tough because there's a lot of new stuff in there laid out that just doesn't look like it used to. And there's nothing to say they can't just change it all at the last minute and kind of hide it.
Just looking for Seth's question in YouTube because they didn't add question.
Looking for someone called Seth. I can't see anyone called Seth.
No, neither can I.
Unless it was back. Must be someone else's name, and they know them in real life or something. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah,
So, Galaxia, if you want to do us a favor and just copy their question and Slack question on, that would be a lot quicker, a lot easier.
No, we haven't. That's an insult, but we will do that. So Datson's just saying if you have a Starlancer CCUN buyback that you've melted and you, now would be a good time to buy it back before it releases because it'll jump in price. So if you're having thoughts about the attack, that's probably a good idea. Or
got it. Cephas Speed Shop.
Mm-hmm.
With military and grade A components available from the convention hall, will we be able to buy them with in stores again, or will they still be locked behind events?
Sorry, I was reading another question. You want to ask that again, please?
So, with military grade A components, the top grade military components being available at Invictus in the hall, does that mean we're going to be able to buy them in the shops again, or are they still going to be locked behind event?
No clue. Doesn't point either way.
In a sense, this is an event, so given that military grade is usually not available, I would say.
Is there a lore post you and I have missed or something? Because Waffle Insanity's just asked, how do you feel about Drake being invited back to Invictus for the first time? And there's multiple people that have asked that today, but I don't see anything that points to that other than some random things that are not concrete. I don't know where people are pulling that from. It's just it's just literally in the schedule. It's just not read. That doesn't mean shit.
Yes. Well, in the past, it's always been Drake Defense Con, and it's not Defense Con. It's just Drake.
But it's like I said though, like they clearly have moved people over to work on other shit.
Look, it could be that it's just an oversight and they're cutting corners. It could be that they have been invited and that's why it's not Defense Con, it's just Drake.
It's more work, and we also know that in the files that there is a Drake hangar in the files that is like the old hangars. So nothing lines up to that effect. It's just I think they have less people working on it this year, and so they just took less time to do these.
I thought I saw someone say there was also 3.
Yeah, it's just that. Okay, so it's just this schedule that's created a bunch of hype. Yeah, no, I think it's just less people are working on shit at the moment, and basically they've just cutting corners to do stuff as quick as possible, and they probably just forgot about it. Because by the same token, you need to really watch your peaking today. By the way, you've been peaking crap loads. You just did again. It's like where's Kruger on this list? An example, like it's just another little oversight.
Yep.
Okay. So SA sent me a message. Apparently, he picked a winner. This was hard. A lot of good engagement and comments. But if I had to pick one, this one is very cool concept I would do or have thought of, but it would make amazing gameplay. It's by Macus Mus, who says, if I were to imagine a Titan suit, I think it would have a decent weapon, low radar visibility, storage, and just enough fuel thrusters to leave and enter Atmo in one go. I would love to see 20 people finish mining at Hathor site fully loaded and travel straight up to meet their dropship in space. Don't agree this would work, but it's unique. So essentially just a way to get stuff off planet, almost like it'd be you could take it back to a capital ship. That I could see that, actually, to be honest with you. It'd be kind of cool, like a whole little hive swarm of traveling eco sets. I don't even know what you would call that though.
You call the home ship a hive?
Kind of. I'm thinking like a wasp or something, but again,
either wasp or bee or ant. Yeah. Maybe it'd be Ant-Man.
What I mean is I don't know what Titan or Greek god they'd call it.
Yep. Yeah.
Who's the god of the underworld again? The Zeus's brother. What was his name? Butchering
Zeus's brother, that'll do.
No, it's the god of the dead, because you're going down and back up again, because you go to the underworld. I don't remember the guy's name, but that's what Hades. That's it. That's what I'd call it. I'd call it the Hades, because it kind of goes down and comes back from the underworld. I think Hades would be a good name for that one. So yeah, Macmas, I will. Can you link me the post though, please, Essay, because I need to be able to go there to talk to him to give it away. I'll see if I can find it by hand, but I don't reckon I'll find it because it keeps. Usually, there's a lot more. And yeah, of course, I can't find it.
Okay, so another question.
Yeah, please.
Do you think we will? This is from Crivitus or Crivicus. Do you think we will have a new starter ship at Invictus launch week this year?
No, I do not.
Yeah. That's an insult. Have you reminded people to buy their Starlancer TAC CCUs out of buyback?
Read that one already.
No, but okay. But if you have a TAC CCU in buyback, yes, get it out before the price rise. And we've done that one.
Yep.
And I don't know if the bots died again because we've had some questions pop in from.
We're just out of questions. That's just it. We're just out of questions, so we're gonna have to wrap up. Picked by Essay. Please reach out to me via Discord so get that sent out to you. Next, there we go. Done.
Socially confused Chuck's in with another variation for the Titan suit. Why not a Titan suit that can enter in atmosphere and infiltration mech?
Well, like as I said in the thing in the episode, is you could have it customizable. So you could also have that one that's for transport, but then all of a sudden, what if it just goes down and you got to pick it back up type of thing? So basically, it's a drop suit Titan, and it just has a weapon on it or something like that. Infiltration, and maybe you drop.
I kind of hope they don't do that, because that would basically be a nail. The system that's supposed to be the Marines' deployment method.
Yeah, but by the same token, once it lands, you have to get out of it. You got maneuvering issues. Yep. There are other things there as well. I actually was just in here thinking, wouldn't it be really cool if you had one that could just carry a second person? So you kind of like drop down, they just sit on the back. Like you imagine you took the geo off and they kind of sit where the box goes, and you just take them back up or whatever. That'd be kind of cool. But it's probably too big to do that. But yeah. Interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think out of everything, you're probably more than likely, if they are going to do some kind of drop thing, it would probably be a Titan suit that does it. So we'll have to kind of wait and see.
So Steban has a question that's coming. Yep. Do you think there will be an Anvil cap ship concept this year?
I think I've kind of reserved my thoughts to be that they will be coming when episode 2 and 3 come along. I think that's kind of where it's moving to.
I live in hope, but as each year passes and we still don't get it, my hope diminishes. So if it comes, great. If it doesn't come, I'm not going to be surprised. And Sol Galaxia has our last question that's come through.
Yep.
The story, which manufacturer could you see make a four-legged Titan suit? So someone had said, what about a four-legged Titan suit? And Galaxia's question is, what manufacturer would produce a four-legged Titan suit?
We actually talked about that in the episode. I actually have a pinned comment right here. I'll bring it back up. It says, right after the show, Essa and I myself were talking, and we were down the line of Grey Cat mining tick, so the Cygnus mining tick.
Yep.
And make it like a mining spider Titan suit. I just went, oh my god, it's cool. Well, we're not going to be able to get the Cygnus miner because it's too big and it's made for squadron. But if you took the idea and shrunk it down, four-legged spider, man, I could get behind that. And the first thing I thought of as soon as SIO were talking about it was that He-Man toy. If you remember the mechanical spider thing that used to walk around it, and I went, yes, I want that. I always wanted it when I was a kid, but the toy is terrible. But if I could actually walk around in a four-legged spider, yes, I want that. So yeah, I reckon that's the cool. And then the rest of it is just talking about giving away the Atlas. So yeah, but yeah, right. Yep.
That's an insult. Also has another question that's come through.
Okay.
Have we started to see what are essentially new currencies in game with guild scripts?
I think you've got Wicklow favors, and you've got the
guild scripts.
the bounty hunting scripts, yeah.
And so yeah, probably they're variations to currency that can be used within your guild or with Wicklow. Sturban comes in and says, now that GTA 6 is started for May 6th, should CRG watch the show about Squadron 42?
We talked about that
still
later.
Still do it in.
It'll be CitizenCon.
Yep. I think that was always the plan anyway. And that's an insult comes in with the last question. You got to turn the bot off. Have you seen the changes to boost speeds when you assign more power to engines?
Nope. I haven't. All right. With that, then we're going to be rating Cobra TV. He is currently streaming. I will it over real quick. So, we got an ad. Yay, great. Ads. Anyway, so yeah, you guys go off and say hello on Twitch to him. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the bot breaking this week. It's beyond our control, but we did kind of muddle through a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see where things go as we get closer and closer to Invictus. So yeah, it looks like he's doing some pyro stuff. So yeah, say hello to
pyro shenanigans.
Yeah, so say hello to him for us. And again, we will be watch you for a little bit before we leave. Right, with that then, Twitch say goodbye to YouTube. Say goodbye to Twitch. Twitch is God, man, I am butchered today. Twitch should say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. Try and say that 10 times fast, and you'll see how hard it is to say. Right, with that then, bye. And they're gone. All right,
they're gone.
Let's turn around and have a little bit of listen.
God. And it was filmed in very high.
Oh, he's
quality.
dying.
And I guess he wasn't the original singer, or that he was singing better than he had in the past on this particular song. God, I can't remember the name of it, man. It was fucking amazing, though.
No.
I'm gonna have to do some research. How long ago? It was probably last year. I think it was a new song last year. Right. It starts off very mellow, and it had like a Metallica sound to it, but like Norwegian Metallica. Inforunners. No way.
Yes way.
I just sent him a quick message.
Yep.
Oh, you sent a camera.
Thank you so much for the raid, man. I say this to you every time. I love the name of your show. It is the coolest name of any show ever. Inforunners is pure fucking genius. I love the name of the show, man. Hi guys, welcome to the show. We're holding down this area because people are trying to get in. We got the place on lockdown.
All right. Lockdown. I think with that we'll dip.
We'll leave you to it.
Yep. All right. We will be doing an episode this week. We do have still got a couple episodes in the bank though as well, so we'll do that as well. But I am really keen for Invictus. I think you can already see, even if you just exclude that there's no concepts coming, we've got enough ships without concepts to basically do what we would normally do. So if you add a concept in there, it's going to be bigger than any other Invictus they've ever had, essentially. I think you'd agree with that one, yeah?
No, yeah, and I could see, as things get bigger, like each year we're getting more and more ships come out as well. I think last year there were 20 ships and variants that came out.
Yeah.
That was probably the most we've had for a long time, so I can see the same again. It's getting scary.
Yeah. All right, then. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And thank you to everyone that went the extra mile at the end of the video on Patreon. With that, then, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.